Ladies and gentlemen, we call to order the Shreveport City Council meeting. At this time, I recognize Councilwoman Stephanie Lynch.
Yes, we are going to be led in prayer today by Reverend Brian Wilson, who is the newly appointed pastor of Galilee Baptist Church, the historic Galilee Baptist Church in Shreveport, Louisiana.
Welcome,
Pastor.
Reverend Wilson. Come to the podium. Please.
Would you please bow your heads? Dear God, we thank you for this day. We thank you, God, for the purpose and call that you have placed on our lives. God, we pray for our civic leaders today. Pray, oh God, that you will continue to give them the wisdom and the knowledge that they need in order to lead us as your people. We pray, oh God, for this country. We pray for this city, that you will bind us as one, unified as your people. And we pray, oh God, that your presence will be in this meeting as we meet to make better this city. Again, we thank you for each and every leader, and we thank you for the call upon our lives. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Councilman Willard Bradford will lead us in the pledge.
Please place flag and let's in unison repeat the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilman Bradford.
Present.
Councilman Everson.
Here.
Councilman Jenkins.
Present.
Councilman Corbin.
Here.
Councilman Flores.
Here.
Councilwoman Lynch. Here. Councilman Bowman.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the administrative conference?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Corbin, second by Councilman Bradford. Is there any discussion? Please vote. Motion is approved. At this time, I will recognize council members who have awards, recognitions, and distinguished guests. Okay, seeing none, Mayor Tyler, you're recognized at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and to members of the City Council and to all of our audience and citizens. Today we have 3 or 4 announcements, but we do have a presentation that we'd like to make. I will do the announcements first. The first one, Mr. Chairman, today American Airlines began nonstop jet service to Charlotte, North Carolina from Shreveport Regional Airport. The service will operate twice daily on a 50-seat Canadair regional jet aircraft. This new flight to Charlotte, which is American Airlines' second largest hub, will allow residents of the Arklatex to connect to more than 250 domestic and international cities with just one stop. So we're excited about that kickoff today. We're trending in the right direction with crime. In July, which is typically one of our highest months for violent crimes, the numbers were down 10% this year over July of 2016. I want to thank the City Council members for approving my resolution to add an additional $150,000 to the budget for overtime pay for officers to patrol our streets in greater numbers. The Shreveport Police Department launched a new initiative called Operation Long Haul in early July, and we have already seen positive results with a decrease in violent crimes. I want to recognize also today Ms. Tari Bradford, the Executive Assistant for Governmental Affairs for my office, for her recent appointment by the Governor John Bell Edwards, to the board for the Louisiana Community and Technical College System. Let me just say congratulations to Ms. Bradford. She is one of 17 members on this board. So congratulations, Ms. Bradford. Now, Shreveport has been in competition with a number of other cities across the Gulf South since the beginning of the year to land the New Orleans NBA Pelicans League team. And recently we learned we are now one of 2 finalists. In order to lure the Pelicans to Shreveport, the city proposed to build a new downtown sports complex. This drew the attention of private investors from Corporate Realty Group of Birmingham, Alabama, who saw the possibilities of repurposing the area in and around the sports complex and waterway into a work, live, play, and stay area. At this time, I'm going to ask Attorney Bradford, our city attorney, to open up the presentation of our RFP response, and he will introduce some of the other members of the team from Corporate Realty. And then after that presentation, I will introduce someone who is here today also representing the Pelicans, Saints, and the Benson family. So, Attorney Bradford.
Thank you, Mayor. I need a little technical help to get the presentation up on the screen.
That's what happens when you come out here, Mark, and not Let's see if we get on both of them, Mark.
Wait, it was up. There we go. Thank you, Madam Mayor, Mr. Chairman, members of the council. The first charge that the city charter gives me as the city attorney is that I must serve as the legal advisor to the mayor and the city council. Each recommendation I make is based solely on the responsibility to each of you and to the public. I am in favor of this project because I know that it will change for the better the economic landscape of our region, and it will contribute to the overarching goal of creating a better Shreveport. As we present today, I encourage each of you to look logically at the due diligence that has been performed. Think of the impact that an effort like this will have on the positive growth of our city. When we received the invitation to respond to the New Orleans Pelicans RFP for their G League team, the mayor's first statement was, "Can our city support this? And is it good for our community?" She tasked my office, the CAO, and her other administrative staff with a challenge to fairly and responsibly answer these questions. And under her direction, and with support from Councilman Everson, we presented the following response to the RFP. This response is an example of the amazing results of shared community investment. You've heard the term public-private partnership, and that's precisely what you see here. No longer can we work in silos. The team you see here is a collection of community partners and private investors that are ready to bring outside dollars and expertise to our community. The first question that we had to answer was, can we sustain bringing this team to this area? I want to be clear. This RFP was issued by a billion-dollar organization with a proven track record of maintaining 2 professional quality teams. There is a reason that they identified our city as a potential location. We are the capital of the Arklatex, with a population of over 2 million people in a 100-mile radius. With the quality of play offered by the NBA and its affiliates, Shreveport will grow its position as a destination for our region. This is an effort to draw regional participation and will generate increased visits to our community. That's additional hotel and motel revenue, sales revenue, and even investment into the focal point of the tri-state area, your hometown. That's how you continue to improve infrastructure. That's how you reinvest in neighborhoods. We're the transportation hub of the Arklatex. We have a labor force of over 271,000 dedicated citizens. We're the economic engine for the Arklatex. We're the higher education capital for this region. We're the healthcare hub for the Arklatex. We're the cultural capital for the Arklatex. And we have countless parks and recreational centers and amazing water and outdoor sports. We're the retail hub for the Arklatex. We have millions of visitors, thousands of visitors every year. We're the regional visitation center for East Texas, Southern Arkansas, in North Louisiana, with downtown amenities that include 10,000 downtown employees, 20 restaurants, 16 attractions, 6 hotels, and 2 casinos, with over 450,000 visitors in 2016 to our Shreveport Convention Center and Municipal Auditorium. Our community understands that we have to invest in ourselves in order to address any issue we face. We've seen an outpouring of support from our area business leaders and citizens. This effort is backed by major partners, including Gatorade, Nike, the NBA, and several other sponsors that you see right here on your screen. The second question, is it good for our community? Could only be answered after we looked to best practices around the country. We found the best. We went out and looked for the best folks who have the most knowledge of this area, this expertise, of this area, of this type of development. We knew very quickly that a single-use facility was not the proper fit for our area. But what we did learn is that there is a need here for a multi-purpose facility, and that having an anchor tenant, such as the Pelicans, would create an additional draw for this facility. Imagine a youth basketball league playing on the same home court as an NBA quality team. Think of all the tournaments that will come to the capital of the Arklatex from East Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, and from countless other areas around our country. Think of the impact that those tournaments and events will have on our revenues. Think of the impact that those tourism dollars will have on our community, and think about the exposure that Shreveport will receive from the countless visitors who come to our area for games, tournaments, and other events. Let's talk about our anchor tenant. The Benson organization and the New Orleans Pelicans is a family-run organization who is willing to invest in our community. They reach into our schools and provide opportunities for our youth. They reach into our neighborhoods and provide support for our community centers. And by the very nature of who they are, they breed additional economic development throughout our city. They have come to the table with an idea and with an understanding that if the city invests in them, they have to invest in the city. The mayor says all the time, we can't give away the store. And they have proven that they understand. So much so, and I need to be very clear, they have agreed to lease terms that extend the same amount of time that it takes to repay the proposed bonds. Said another way, that lease goes until the bonds mature. If they come here, they are here for the long haul. The sports complex operations are designed to be self-sustaining and can be funded at no additional cost to the taxpayer. The funds that will be utilized are already specifically dedicated for the purpose of economic development along our riverfront. We would put to use money as it was originally intended. It does not take away from the ability of the city to improve infrastructure. We see orange cones everywhere. Nor does it impede our ability to satisfy other obligations. A multi-purpose sports complex is sustainable. But what comes with it? That's the magic. During this process, we wanted the best possible model. Corporate Realty is an organization that has a proven track record of working success into similar markets as Shreveport. This team worked as a private partner to develop a mixed-use development to complement the sports complex. They invested their own money, their own time, because they believe that the city of Shreveport is primed with an opportunity to see an economic renaissance. With input from the city, they have helped the mayor to realize a vision of Mayor Tyler that creates an environment where our citizens and visitors will want to live, work, play, and stay. Their private investment will exceed $100 million. Again, their private investment will exceed $100 million and will invigorate a section of our city that currently generates no revenue for its citizens. The construction of a development like this means jobs. It means opportunity, and it provides an avenue to touch countless lives and to lift our entire region. I sincerely believe that when the outside world sees that the city of Shreveport is taking such bold steps, it will take note, and other investment will follow. I want to bring up corporate realty to discuss the specifics of the sports complex and the mixed-use development.
Good afternoon, Mayor, councilors. Thank you, Will. I'm Robert Simon, President and CEO of Corporate Realty, headquartered in Birmingham, Alabama. The presentation you're about to see is consistent with our Edge of Prime urban anchored platform. The opportunity to create a mixed-use development that will serve this community as a go-to destination and bring with it a long-term economic impact to the city is both exciting and appealing. At the end of the day, it is about boosting the quality of life, the tax base, and long-term job creation. At this time, I'll turn the presentation over to Brian Wolf, my Chief Development Officer.
Mayor, councilors, thank you again for having us here today. First, let me say that the City of Shreveport has done an outstanding job for planning for the reposition of the assets in Cross Bayou. After we were invited to participate on the city's team for this project, we were blown away with the level of organization and planning they had completed in order to be in a position to allow for a quick response to this opportunity and place the city in a winning position. Now I want to walk you through the plans for the sports complex. First, let me say that we looked at 8 other G League facilities throughout the country before we started this pursuit. And what we have here today is a facility that is purpose-built for a G League franchise. And that was an important part of really getting the Pelicans interested in this pursuit. Of the 11 other cities that were administered, we were one of the only new construction cities considered, and I think that was one of the points that the Pelicans really believed in. There are 2 levels in this facility. The ground level kind of contains the entry portal, the team store, and the offices. It also has a lot of the back of the house functions for the Pelicans, training, locker rooms, etc. The concourse level is the public level. It is the level where you have all the restrooms, all the concessions, and you walk down a seating bowl into your seat. It's a very intimate environment. It's about 3,200 seats. On the next slide, it kind of walks through the different aspects. I'm not going to read every one of these off, but these were very important aspects of the RFP the Pelicans put out for the different parts and pieces of the facility in order to be successful for a modern G League franchise. The next part of our mixed-use development was the development of Cross Bayou. As Robert had mentioned before, the Pelicans and the sports complex serves as an anchor, the urban anchor, for what is going to be a much larger mixed-use project along the bayou. The picture on the left is the picture of a redevelopment in Waco, Texas, on the Brazos River. Very similar development just outside of Baylor University's new football complex. There's some great parallels here, and it's a great project to look at to see the kind of the before and after. The stuff on the Brazos River was former industrial property, just as the property here is, and it produced a very low tax increment for the city, if almost zero for the city. Similar circumstances here in Shreveport, Louisiana, and we're excited to be a part of that facility. A couple things here that we showed the team that were compelling. These are some of the aspects of what we consider positive mixed-use project development. I'm not going to read these off. They're in your packet. They're in the media packet as well. And I believe these will be on the city's website at 4 p.m. today, if I'm not mistaken. A couple things here that I do want to point out in part of successful mixed-use development is the way we develop out different aspects of mixed-use development. One important thing is how we construct the mixed-use environment so that we stretch out what is normally a 6 to 8 hour work day into a 12 to 18 hour day. And we do that by programming, as we said before, live, work, stay, play. And so we want to make sure that we have entertainment options that attract people here at night. We have hotel options. We have people that are living in this site in a mixed-use environment. And so we have a good, positive, long day that expands out and makes all these retailers and the entertainment very successful throughout its life. This is a rendering of the project. I believe here we're looking generally east over to the Red River, which is in the background. You see in the foreground, just underneath the fireworks, the sports complex itself. Just below that, to the south, we have an office building. The two multifamily projects with the pools on the top are located in the foreground. The hotel is on the left. We have ground level retail along the ground levels along the main street, which McNeil will run in front of the sports complex. And then we'll have some new streets that will be created as part of this complex, again, right along the riverfront. I'll begin to walk you through the different particulars of the mixed-use plan. First is just the orientation of the sports complex relative to the rest of the mixed-use development. It's a major focal point and a gathering spot along the main streets of our project. Further to the east, you need to note the potential for the Saints practice facility. As Will mentioned, the Benson family also owns the Saints. We know the Saints are looking to do and are interested in a new practice facility. We wanted to make sure that we planned for and protected that inside of our planning module in this conceptual mixed-use plan. Thirdly is the cultural aspect of this project is the existing Waterworks Museum and Visitor Center. It's centered in the development, is on the National Register of Historic Places. We believe highlighting and reinvesting in this city asset will create a better overall project. Also note the continuation of the city's boardwalk along the river. We want to encourage exercise and human interaction along this development and make sure we have a very pedestrian and human-scaled environment so that we can encourage pedestrian walking, biking along the city's existing riverfront assets. Now I'm going to turn this over to Meredith Calhoun, our Chief Operating Officer, to walk you through the rest of the project.
Good afternoon, councilors, mayor. Thank you for having us today. Key to redevelopment of this size, of course, is a healthy and thoughtful mix of uses and tenancy. So you've heard the phrase live, work, and play, and stay a few times today. And so, of course, we've touched on each of those categories, and I'm going to go through those with you today. Now, for the hotel site, we really see an opportunity here to complement the Hilton Convention Center, bringing more options and rooms to the market for visitors of tourism and of business. The entire country is enjoying a renaissance of sorts as people, young and old, choose to be downtown as in their live, work, and play, stay options. And this translates really nicely to the Shreveport existing urban core landscape. So for the residential piece specifically, we believe Shreveport is primed to benefit from the trend. And to complement the great adaptive reuse projects that you have scattered out throughout your CBD now, we see an opportunity for an urban new construction product, actually two. And in our experience, this type of product will be necessary to meet the demands of a redevelopment project of this size. For the office users, of course, technology is impacting the office trends toward a more open and casual office environment, and in an urban core setting, affording users walkability, a campus-like setting. We see the mix of uses here providing renewed opportunity to attract large employers to the Shreveport area, as well as address the office needs of your local business owners and entrepreneurs through co-working and creative office space. And then to round out the mix of uses in retail, we see the opportunity to follow the national retail trends shifting from lifestyle to more of an experiential and third space entertainment uses mixed with food and beverage options. So we really intend to build upon the local and regional base of operators here in Shreveport to create a local flavor that celebrates Shreveport's past and local culture with an eye toward the future. So finally, with regard to parking, we plan to create parking assets that will, of course, address the needs of the site specifically, but discourage one-off transactions, providing ease of accessibility for in and out of the site, but really encouraging patrons to park their car and walk and enjoy all of the amenities on the site. And with that, I will turn it back to Will.
So again, we want to reemphasize the fact that this is a public and private partnership, particularly emphasizing the private investment as well. What's before the council today is the very preliminary steps to move forward with the issuance of revenue bonds related to the construction of the sports complex. That would be the city's investment in this endeavor. Again, it's a not to exceed $30 million limitation. But what comes with that, and it allows us to leverage against, is the fact that the private investment is over, and you can do the math, over $100 million to include the hotel, the multifamily residential, the office, and the retail and restaurant. So we want to make sure that everyone gets that very, very clear, that the city's ask is $30 million for the revenue bonds for the purposes of constructing the sports complex. That leverages to another $100 million in over $100 million of private dollars from investment from corporate realty for the construction of the remaining portions of the mixed-use development. So we want to make sure we separate the sports complex from the mixed-use development dollars.
Thank you. I'm Carol Clark, Mayor, Council, and guests. I'm Project Director and Community Development Officer for Corporate Realty, and I'm going to talk a little bit about community impact. It's been alluded to already, but a project of this magnitude will certainly create significant economic impacts to not only the city, but the community as well. And there'll be more of every type of tax revenue that you can imagine. Certainly increased tourism, new jobs, both of which will mean more dollars turning over in the local economy. A new destination means enhanced quality of place and a greater sense of pride in Shreveport. We've seen this from these types of transformational projects time and time again. As for DBE participation, local, small, and DBE participation will definitely be a priority. We're committed to maximizing DBE participation in the design and construction phases of the project. We are aware of your exemplary policy, your fair share program, and its 25% goal. I think the differentiator for this team is really our intentionality, our sincerity and intention in really driving for results. You know, it's not a check the box thing. We'll need your help in engaging the community, of course, and making sure that people really know that we're trying to help them access this opportunity and be successful. We'll also provide regular progress reports to the mayor and the city council throughout the process. Thank you.
So as you'll see on the screen now is the development schedule we presented to the New Orleans Pelicans. The start date's today, and the end date is to have them playing by the 2019 season. So I think it's approximately November of 2019. So the city has identified some funding resources available for capital projects, specifically that were designated for the purpose of constructing a project for economic development along the Red River. So these are intended, purpose-driven funds as well. And we have a maximum request for $30 million on the agenda at this time, and the $27 million budget is a soft budget right now, but we know not to exceed that amount that's being requested relative to the revenue bonds. The proposed business terms will also be included in your press packet. Again, these are fluid. These are items that were negotiated and are currently under negotiation with both the Pelicans as well as with other private investors. And so those will be available for you to review as well. And again, why Shreveport? And I won't quote who it is right now, but someone told me why not. Shreveport has had a successful history with the Pelicans. We have the understanding that we need a purpose-built NBA G League sports complex, but this also provides an opportunity to create a mixed-use development anchor, a destination for our area, something that has not been seen in my generation. And we have commitments from community leaders as well as from other investors and sponsors related to this matter. And this map, for your edification, is a map of the current locations of all the G League teams in the nation. And we took the liberty to put a Shreveport Pelicans logo right there in our hometown to show we fill a gap, that there's a need for professional quality sports athletics in this area. And it's a driving force for why the Pelicans are interested in our area as well. You're in a competitive, highly competitive venue. You're in a highly competitive league. Your quality of play it rivals the NBA, and these individuals are very seasoned athletes, but they also bring a professional team with them. They bring an organization that's very well voiced and very well versed in the operations of professional quality athletics. and the mixed-use development that accompanies it is paramount to this entire project. I know Mr. Crawford has a few words to add to that as well.
I do. Thank you, Attorney Bradford. I'm going to speak specifically about the funding slide. I know that's been a big question mark. As Attorney Bradford mentioned at the beginning of this presentation, because the funding of the new Shreveport Sports Complex will depend in part on the revenue generated in and around the facility from the presence of the Pelicans G League team and other private investments that we've talked about this afternoon. The initial lease term is proposed to be coterminous with the length of the bond. And again, that's emphasizing some of the question marks in the community about, well, they'll come in here and then they'll leave. I think we have to understand that this is the Benson family. This is the NBA. This is the big time. And they're committed to staying in Shreveport as long as we have to have this debt. So that could be 10 to 25 years. The financial portions related to the city's commitment to funding the sports complex debt service of approximately $27.5 million. Attorney Bradford alluded to not more than 30. At inception will be derived from the city's Riverfront Development Special Revenue Fund. Now, this fund was created by ordinance in 1998 of 1996 for the purposes, and this is in the ordinance, this fund was created for the purposes of dedicating those monies that are derived from this fund in the advancement of riverfront and downtown development and other economic development efforts. Although used to support and guarantee the revenue bonds in whole and throughout their term to maturity, it has been determined through revenue analysis that the use of the Riverfront Fund will only be necessary at the initial inception of the project, and that as the entirety of the development comes online over the next 3 to 5 years, other revenue sources will come online to supplant the source of debt services. This will include new sale, property, occupational taxes generated by the Cross Bayou development will generate funding that will cover a significant portion, if not all, of the debt service payment. This will be derived by expanding the current taxing incremental funding or financing district, or the TIF district, that we currently have downtown in that area. Additionally, at the beginning of 2029, debt service payments that will begin for this project, actually payments in 2019, will be supported by funding provided, it could be provided by funding for the state hotel, motel tax, and those rebates locally and at the state level. These combined annually currently at $2.1 million. $1.3 million of that is derived from the state. $800,000 of that is derived from local sales tax rebates for hotel and motel. Those are not paid by citizens generally. Those are paid by visitors to our community. And so those are currently being placed toward the 2016 refunding of the Independent Stadium. This debt will be retired in 2028, thus providing unassigned funds that through additional legislation may be accessed to support the sports complex debt service at the beginning of 2029. And the sports complex itself, as the sports complex becomes a staple in the community and region, more events will be booked and an increase in revenue is expected over operating costs. This additional revenue could be used toward the venue's debt service. So in conclusion on the financial portion, funding for the development of the Shreveport Sports Complex will be derived from current funding sources intended by law but never fully used toward riverfront and downtown economic development ventures. In addition, and as noted, the city will cover future debt service payments while alternative funding sources as they are projected to ramp up and come online as this development matures with no new taxes to the citizens of this community. Thank you, Attorney Bradford.
Thank you. At this point, I think there's a video that the mayor would like to show related to some of the support of this effort as well, and then afterwards, I think we'll field some questions.
Okay. And I have one last.
Yes, ma'am, of course.
Okay.
Hey, Mr. Benson, remember me? I'm from Shreveport, and we want your New Orleans Pelicans G League team right here, right now.
Hello, Mr. Benson. This is Stromile Swift, and we want the Pelicans at Shreveport.
We want the Pelicans in Shreveport! We want the Pelicans!
We want the
Pelicans! We want the Pelicans!
Yeah, me too.
We are ready to receive their G-League right here in Shreveport. However, I want to tell you, it's nice to see all of the bands and cheerleaders and fans out for this magnificent event.
We want the Pelicans in Shreveport. Let's go, Pelicans!
team like the Pelicans to our city is really a progressive way to look towards the future.
Mr. Benson, we want the Pelicans G League in Shreveport. I want the Pelicans in Shreveport. We want the Pelicans. We want the Pelicans.
We want the Pelicans.
Mr. Benson, we want the Pelicans in Shreveport.
Hi, this is Todd Walker from Shreveport, and we want the Pelicans.
We want the Pelicans in Shreveport.
Mr. Benson, we want the Pelicans in Shreveport.
Mr. Benson, we want the Pelicans.
We want the Pelicans to come to Shreveport.
We want the Pelicans.
We want the Pelicans in Shreveport.
Hi, Mr. Benson. The New Orleans Pelicans are special to the state of Louisiana, and the New Orleans Saints have always been embraced in North Louisiana as well. We're prepared, we're ready to invest in your New Orleans Pelicans G League team. Let's get together and make it happen now.
I want to introduce one last person, and before I do that, I want to do a quote, and I'm going to paraphrase one of the greatest, I think, National Basketball Association players, Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan said something that really resonates with me. He said, "Some people want it to happen, some wish it to happen, let's make it happen." And I say, let's make it happen with this development along the Cross Bayou corridor, and let's bring the NBA Pelican G League to Shreveport, Louisiana. Now, at this time, I'm just going to ask Mr. Pate, the Executive Director of Community and Governmental Affairs. He came up here today and he represents the Pelicans, the Saints, and the Benson family. Because we're still in the RFP process, Mr. Pate will not be able to make any comments today, but he's here to show support from the Benson family. So, Stephen Pate, Mr. Pate, where are you? Will you just stand so people can see who you are? Thank you for coming today. Mr. Chairman and members of the council, that ends our presentation. Thank you so much.
The chair now recognizes Vice Chairman Bowe.
I just like Ms. Kimball, Jennifer Kimball.
There she is, right there. Jennifer, come up. Great.
Good afternoon. I appreciate you letting me just take just a minute. I'm the Vice President of Caddo Crime Stoppers. My name's Jennifer Kimball, and this is just kind of an opportunity to invite everyone here to an event that we have. We're always looking for ways to support Crime Stoppers. As one way that we as citizens with no other title can give back to the community, and Crime Stoppers works with the police department here, and really it's actually a worldwide thing, believe it or not. But the way that we get our funding to do this, a lot of that is donations from the public. We do have some fundraisers, and coming up on September the 8th, we have a nice fundraiser at Sam's Town. General Honore is our guest speaker. We are looking for sponsors as well as people who would just enjoy the evening attending. You can go to the website, lockemup.org, LOCKEMUP.org. It's hard to get that right. If you'll go to that, you can get tickets, you can look into sponsorship, or you can also enter a raffle for an AR-15 that is absolutely beautiful. If you don't want it, you want to buy a ticket, you can always donate it to somebody who'd like it. We have many things going on that evening that are going to be very enjoyable. If you know anybody that would be interested in sponsoring a table or just coming, go to that website, get in touch with one of us. If you see me out and about, ask me about it, and we'd love to have you.
And you're going to have a general, right?
General Honore is our speaker. If you remember General Honore from Hurricane Katrina, he did wonders for the state of Louisiana, the Ragin' Cajun, as we call him. He made that phrase, what was that catchphrase? Stuck on stupid, that's right. So don't get stuck on stupid. You need to join us. September the 8th, it's at 6 o'clock. We do have, for some sponsors, we have a VIP reception and meet and greet that will start, I believe, at 5. So if any of y'all would be interested, we would love to see you there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
The chair now recognizes Councilwoman Stephanie Lynch.
Okay, so many people here today, but I do want to recognize my state representative, Ms. Barbara Norton. Wave at everybody. Okay, I have a special recognition today for the Express Sports. Are the kids here? Y'all come on down. Okay.
This recognition is for Express Sports 15U team. They won the Las Vegas Classic. Y'all give them a hand. Express Sports is an organization that has been around for about 20 years now, with much success mentoring young men and, of course, winning. And we wanted to just recognize them today with some certificates, just showing their appreciation for mentoring young men in our community. You know, we hear and see a lot about, things that young people are doing or not doing, but this is just another positive example that, of adults mentoring and kids staying out of trouble and doing something positive. So we wanted to recognize that today. Coach Marlon Anderson. Okay, so we'll have him. Assistant Coach LaWarren Brown. Assistant Coach Eric Clark. Assistant Coach Antoine Jacobs. That's you. Okay. And which kids do we have here today? And I have certificates for the entire team, and it reads, the Shreveport City Council Award of Excellence is hereby awarded to, and all of them read the same, but this one is to Deontay Bell for your outstanding performance as a member of the Express Sports basketball team during the Summer Games of 2017 and for being a Goodwill Ambassador for the city of Shreveport. That's you, the tall one? Congratulations. All righty, and we're going to ask the mayor and the chairman of the council if they have words, and then we'll hear from the coach.
Thank you so much, Councilwoman Lynch, and to city council members and to our audience. It is just so exciting to see what's happening in our great city. And certainly these folks are examples of what we all need to aspire to be like. When you mentor the next generation of leaders in this city, you're doing, I think, the work of the Lord. So thank you so much for what you do. Thank you, young people, for being great examples of what we all would like to see in our young people. You're the future. You are the next best generation we can have in this nation. So keep on doing what you're doing. Thank you so much.
Councilwoman Lynch and members of the council and guests here today, and to this outstanding group here, I say congratulations. I might try to get Councilman Bowman and Bradford, and we might play you a little one-on-one. Congratulations.
I'd like to see that.
Yeah, I'd like to see that too. Now we got a representative here from the New Orleans Pelicans. So we got some tall players send y'all way for the coach.
I'd just like to thank Mayor Tyler, the city council, and all the people that showing appreciation to these young men. We believe it's a calling to mentor young men. We do our best, and come out. You'll be seeing them in the gym in Shreveport in the season coming up. So thank you again, and God bless.
I want to ask the council to suspend the rules to take up Resolution 142, which is recognizing the appointment of Reverend Brian Wilson.
Second.
If we could ask Reverend Wilson to come.
Somebody needs to set it in the agenda.
They just need to vote on that. Raise your hands.
We can do a hand vote. That's just wait until she gets back so she can read it.
Any discussion? Been motion made, second. All those in favor, raise your hand. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Tanya, I can see you.
We're going to ask the members and officers of Galilee to come up.
I'm just trying to make sure Tanya gets what she needs. I can tell she was still trying to hear.
I canceled it.
You got it? Okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they're coming.
Yeah. So our rules are suspended, so I'll make a motion that we adopt Resolution 142 from Councilwoman.
Second by Councilman Jenkins. Any discussion?
We're going to read it.
Please vote. All in favor? Raise your hand. Any opposed? Motion
All
passes.
right, y'all come on. I know y'all from Galilee, so y'all not shy. We're going to, Resolution 142 of 2017, a resolution to congratulate Reverend Brian Wilson, the new pastor of Galilee Baptist Church, to thank Galilee for many successful programs and ventures that have improved the lives of citizens of Shreveport, to wish Reverend Wilson and the officers and members of Galilee Baptist Church continued success in future endeavors, and to otherwise provide with respect thereto. Whereas Galilee Baptist Church was organized in 1877 and has been a spiritual beacon for its members and the greater Shreveport community for 140 years. And whereas from 1959 until his death in 2016, Reverend Ernest Edward Jones Sr. continued the spiritual mission of Galilee, expanded its reach nationally and internationally, and led the church in building a new church facility. Reverend Jones also led the church to construct and operate apartments for the elderly and apartments for the general population, to acquire and operate recreational facilities for members of the church and the community, and to participate in other redevelopment efforts in the city. Reverend Jones, with the support of the church, led efforts to integrate the Caddo Parish school system, to organize and support voter education efforts, and to participate in the governmental affairs of this city, parish, state, and nation. And whereas in April 2017, Reverend Brian Wilson, a native of Shreveport, a graduate of the public schools of Caddo Parish, the recipient of a Bachelor of Science degree from Grambling State University, GSU, I thought you knew, a Master of Divinity degree from the Morehouse School of Religion in Atlanta, Georgia, and the pastor of the First Baptist Church of Cullen, Louisiana, accepted the call to become the new pastor of Galilee Baptist Church. And whereas Shreveport has benefited from past programs and efforts of Galilee Baptist Church, and Shreveport continues to benefit from the religious and civic institutions that are committed to improving the character and lives of citizens and enhancing the community in which we live. And whereas Reverend Brian Wilson, who began his ministry at age 19 and was an associate minister at Galilee, has the education, training, experience, and ties to Galilee and its traditions to continue those traditions and to institute new ministries and programs that benefit members of Galilee and the citizens of Shreveport and this city. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Shreveport in due and regular session convened that the City Council congratulates Reverend Brian Wilson for becoming pastor of Galilee Baptist Church. Yes, you can say.
Okay.
Preachers and politicians, we always
Yes,
have something
ma'am.
to say.
I want to thank everyone, all of our leaders, our city leaders. Thank you all. Thank you so much for taking this time to honor the tradition of Galilee, but also to pay recognition. And we thank you so much. I recognize the tradition of Galilee. I recognize how much it has meant to this city and the community. And we will continue that tradition. We will continue to be involved and make a difference in our community and city. Thank you so much. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Chairman? Yes. I would be remiss if I did not recognize the distinguished Chancellor of the Southern University of Shreveport, Dr. Rodney Ellis. He's also in the audience. Greetings.
Okay, we'll move on to reports. Does anyone have any questions for the reports section?
No, we had a real positive conversation. We had a real positive meeting today. Got a few things put out. The city attorney will be looking into Lyft and Uber for us, to see what we can do to push that along. And there's some other things that we discussed on public safety last. So we had a good meeting today.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, and really for City Attorney Bradford, since many of us do get a fair amount of calls about the Lyft and Uber, could you elaborate a little bit more? Is it administrative in nature? What is the issue that last winter they coming and?
The holdup has been a provision in our ordinance that requires them to execute a hold harmless agreement that basically absolves the city of any liability in the event that one of their drivers or the company itself causes harm to another. We discussed it in this Public Safety Committee meeting and make a decision of whether or not to remove or maybe modify that language to be more accommodating to them, but also still protect the interest of the city.
Thanks.
Mayor Collins, did you get all your announcements?
I did. We just got some guests that are here to speak to the resolution today.
All right. Mr. Sweeney. I'm sorry.
Okay, so that's because I kind of vaguely remember when we were going over this contract asking about that line in there because, you know, as an insurance claims professional, it was kind of, okay, so, but we're not going to let that, I mean, it's in Texarkana, so whatever they use to get it.
I understand.
Okay. Because I'm anxious to get Uber here and Lyft, and you know we're not going to let that line keep us from doing that because it's really it's probably not in a lot of contracts. Okay, so hi, Representative Burrell. I'm sorry, I didn't see you recognize him as well.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you.
We made it clear that we
forward to trying to get that happen. Okay, Mr. Sweeney, did you want to speak or have anything? Step back. He said okay. All right, let's go to adding legislation. Mr. Thompson, is there anything to add?
We have not, Mr. Chairman.
We have a lot of public comments and requests to speak, and now I will recognize the vice chair to control the time on that. Thank you, Tyler. Did you want to let yours speak during this time?
Yes, sir.
Okay, why don't you call them up?
Okay, we got a lot of them here, so I don't know everybody. But Mr. Brando, thank you for being here today. Everybody know he's the national sports announcer. Will you come first?
Sure.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. First of all, it's great to be here. Thank you for having me, Mayor, Tyler, and all the councilors. Thank you.
Your name and remind you that
Yes.
you only have 3 minutes to speak.
Now, that's about the length of my open on our first telecast next week.
Thank you, sir.
We got to get to the kickoff on time. Listen, I first and foremost want to speak solely to what I know, and what I know is sports and the impact that it can have. It enriches the enrollment of academic institutions across the country. Places like what the firm in Birmingham did in Baylor with the Brazos River. I was there last year. It's remarkable. Cities of comparable size that we are competing with for the dollar, the infrastructure dollar that comes with tourism. Cities like Mobile, Pensacola, Jackson, even in Des Moines, Iowa. We need something in our downtown area like this, not only for the economic impact, but also for the pride that it brings to our people. It's been said many times, even down in New Orleans, when Hale Boggs and John McKithen brought the New Orleans Saints to town in 1967, people wondered why we didn't have the problems in Louisiana that they had in Selma, that they had in Mississippi. And the source of that was the New Orleans Saints. Because for the first time, perhaps in the history of the state of Louisiana, graduates from Southern University, Grambling University, and LSU were in the same building at the same time, rooting for the same team. So generationally, we've seen this success take place. There are those that are going to be skeptics that say, well, what about the past failures of sports franchises in our city? All of those franchises had problems either because of ownership or the league. There is no problem with ownership or the league in this case. The developmental league is something that is growing, and the investment that the NBA is making in it and the sponsorship that it has from Gatorade is perfectly the example that we need to take a look at with regard to this. Also, the NCAA's one-and-done rule could likely change, and if that happens, the developmental league will become the place where those that choose not to go to school will play their basketball. The one-and-done rule for the NBA and college basketball is in some peril. That could change. But whether it does or it doesn't, having young African Americans and young Caucasians in a town of our size that at times has had its fair share of issues, as all cities do, galvanizes our city. It's something that not only should happen, but must happen. As a resident of Shreveport-Bossier and a native of our town, we've stunted our growth far too many times, whether in the entertainment industry, all the way back to the Louisiana Hayride, which could have been as big as Nashville and wasn't. Let's not make the same mistake this time that those came before us did. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Kelly Wells is from the Shreveport-Bossier Sports Commission, and he's also part of our team, but he would like to speak today to this issue.
Greetings. I think it's very exciting today. One of the things, and I've been working for the Tourist Bureau Sports Commission for about 15 years. It wasn't until about 5 years ago that basically got the keys to work with Shreveport and Bossier and Caddo-Bossier parishes on bringing sporting events into the area. And so one thing that I've found over the years is a venue is extremely important for sporting events. When a couple of my staff are down in New Orleans for a large sports conference right now, we can't go after the downhill skiing and all those things because we don't have the venues here to make that happen. Next weekend we'll have the Powerboat Nationals down at the Riverfront Park, and we expect thousands of folks to come in, take part in that area. The river, Atlanta, Georgia, Fort Worth spending, $1 billion on the Trinity River development. I feel like that's one area that we really underutilize. You look at where the new Shreveport Aquarium's going, and we're hoping the restaurant will be open for the Powerboat Nationals next weekend. But I think this is an incredible opportunity. The G League team is phenomenal. I've known the Pelicans organization for since 2014. We've done 2 preseason games. Both have been phenomenal. I know that Mr. Benson's probably the top business person in the state of Louisiana. He's been phenomenal. Dennis Lauscher, the president, is the only president of both the NBA and NFL. So I think with the G League and their involvement, they're going to bring a lot of expertise to the area. Legislator told me probably about 12 years ago, I think I was mentioning some economic impact stuff that we had done. He said, Kelly, whatever you do, don't ever do anything unless you have a partnership. So I think the city's investment today, having the private investment involved with it, and for them to guarantee with the $30 million that we would spend on the venue, them matching that with $100 million plus, I think is a great green light to show that this is a great product. I travel a lot. I was recently in Huntsville, Alabama. I was in Sacramento, California. A lot of these venues are taking place downtown. Taking off my sports hat, putting on the convention hat. We had AKA here recently, LMA. We lose a generous number of events because we're up against the Gaylord Texan, where it's a one-stop shop. One of the things with bringing these convention folks in is that you've got to be able to provide the nightlife and the entertainment. So I think with this added area, it'll provide another meeting facility as well, where we can really go after some of the bigger events. The Bassmaster Classic, I was actually on the phone with them last week. People ask, when are we getting the Classic back? Well, we need another 90,000 square feet of ground level space. This will help complement it to go after that event. Conference USA basketball. We have a couple of fall basketball events. Folks ask, why don't we have spring basketball? Well, I think this new venue could get us the state women's basketball championships. Talked to Tommy McClellan, at the Conference USA Basketball Championships. We've been on that twice. We showed them the Hearst. We showed them the Gold Dome. They were not interested in either venue. They would be interested in this new arena. So I think we could put an aggressive bid together for the Conference USA Basketball tournaments in the future. USA BMX, they have about 4,000 folks over in Monroe. I think they would be interested in this area. State women's volleyball. State powerlifting. I think there's a lot of events that could take place in this area. So, myself and the Sports Commission is very supportive of this. I applaud the mayor and the city council and the staff for all the feasibility and all those other things they're looking at. And, it's like when me and my wife made the decision 7 years ago to build a new home, going from about $110,000 to about $220,000 home. There was some nervousness involved with that, but, I think it's a great opportunity. So.
I have several others. I know you probably have cards for some of these. I know that Mr. Rick Holland is here. Mr. Don Olson from the Greater Chamber, Representative Norton, Dr. Mary Jackson. If you all will just come on up. Mr. Holland. Where's Mr. Holland? Come on up, Mr. Holland. And Mr. Olson.
You can't be Rick Holland, and you don't have a hat on.
Hey, it's under the chair.
And Dr. Ellis.
I'll just go ahead and use my little short time to say that, less I won't need 3. I just want to let you know how much in support I am of this, what a great idea I think it is. I've had a long, enjoyable history in this city of promoting sports, from national championships in flag football to tennis tournaments, to helping be a part of bringing LSU Notre Dame game here, to bringing the Saints and Cowboys games here. And I tell you, the opportunity is rare that we have today to be a part of a great organization like the Saints and the Pelicans. And sometimes timing is the essence of success. And I think to seize upon this timing is a great opportunity for our city that will be felt for years and years and years. And what people don't realize is that we're located in the hub of the wheel. When you look around, like they talked about the region, Dallas, Houston, Little Rock, Memphis, even other. When you take a team to those, you're lost. You don't know where to go. When you come here, everything's already laid out for you. Great transportation system, great entertainment, great facilities. This is where you want the families to come. The families spend more money on taking their kids on sporting trips than they do on their vacations. And that's what we want to build, is an environment here that not only has the Pelicans bringing them in, a chance and an opportunity to get the Saints to come in here in each and every part of that. Hope you support it. Thank you.
Chairman Fleury, council members, Mayor Tyler, concerned citizens. I'm Don Olson, chairman of the board of the Greater Shreveport Chamber of Commerce. And on behalf of our chamber president, Dr. Tim Magner, and our 1,700 plus members, I want to offer the chamber's support for the city's effort to bring this team to our community. We see the energy that's building in the Greater Shreveport community for stronger investment in economic development, and believe that hosting a professional team of this caliber is a logical step in the efforts to bring additional entertainment and economic opportunity for the citizens of our region. We also see the interest and the commitment that local citizens and outside investors are showing in downtown Shreveport, and believe that the site being proposed for the new complex along the Cross Bayou corridor will stimulate additional demand for retail, office, and residential space in our town, in the downtown district. We know that this is a big investment. It's obvious that the people involved with it so far have done their due diligence. The chamber recognizes the contribution that Mayor Tyler and the council make, and we know that you're up to the task to see that this is done in a fiscally responsible way, and the chamber applauds your efforts and your service for the economic development of this community. I'd also finally like to offer a copy of the letter that Dr. Magner, our president, sent to Mr. Pate of the New Orleans Pelicans, and I'll leave it over here for the record.
First, thanking God for this day. It is a wonderful, wonderful opportunity to be back in the place where you live, from Baton Rouge to Shreveport. So I am honored, I am excited to be back home. Let me, if I may, bring you greetings on behalf of the state of Louisiana to the mayor of this great city for all of her efforts and hard works, and to this council for all of your efforts and hard work. I applaud you all effort today. I say that. I believe without a doubt that you all are doing an excellent job. So please keep up the good work. To Attorney William and to the mayor and others with that dynamic presentation on behalf of being able to look at Shreveport and say that we have an opportunity to be a part of a win-win situation. And I think the win-win situation is today. If not today, then when? If not the opportunity right now, then when? If not the chance, and not today, then when? I believe we've been put on a list, on a pedestal, to be able to bring a great team here in our city. And if we not take this opportunity, we may never again get a chance to take this opportunity. You know, when I saw the video and I saw the mayor playing basketball and shooting, you know, the ball in the goal, I said, well, I've got to call Tom Benson, and I've got to say, Shreveport is the only place, the only city, the only family-oriented city where you need to be looking at. And I said to myself, I just believe that he would say to me, this is where we're going to come to. this is where we're going to end up. You know, you have to stand for something to keep from falling for anything. And I think today we stand for the opportunity to be able to bring a great team in our city. And I know without a doubt that we can do that. We just need all of the support that we can get, and everybody marching in the same direction, everybody praying in the same direction, everybody working together in the same direction, saying that we can do it, and I believe that we can do it. I want you all to know that you have my support on behalf of the state of Louisiana. Again, thank you for all of y'all's efforts.
Greetings, Dr. Jackson.
Greetings, Chairman Fleury and Vice Chairman Bowman, Mayor Tyler, and all of you that make up the City Council. I'd just like to applaud everyone, Special Attorney Bradford, and those who helped put that presentation together. It's an awesome presentation, and if it has not won your support now, I encourage you, I urge you to reflect again on the opportunity that Shreveport will be missing out on without your support. There's an old saying that opportunity knocks twice, once to say hello and once to say goodbye. But I believe that after such an awesome presentation here today, that we, the citizens of Shreveport, the mayor, her administration, will seize upon that opportunity. Why? Because without saying, we are better together as a team. And this opportunity will bring Shreveport to a level that it has never been before. And I believe that we can surpass our present position of being the third largest city in Louisiana to becoming the #1 city in Louisiana if we work hard at it. I'd just like to say that I support you, Mayor Tyler. I support you, City Council. And please, this is about the city of Shreveport. Everyone will benefit from this opportunity. Even the Pelicans themselves. I'm a great sports fan. I do not miss as many Saints games. I tried to make the Pelicans game. I don't mind driving. I don't mind flying. And I hope Director Thompson didn't hear that last statement about driving. He's sitting over there. But when you look at it, the overall picture, from our hotels to our schools, you just saw the presentation to the students who were here today. Think about the opportunity that our upcoming athletes will have. Think about the opportunity that our scholars will have by embracing this project. So let's come together, and I urge everyone to join hands together and make sure that this project comes to fruition, because Shreveport will benefit the greatest from it, and we'll be on the map. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jackson. The next one is Dr. Ellis from Southern University of Shreveport.
Greetings, Dr. Ellis.
Greetings, mayors, city council members, council staff, members of the community, and to the representatives of the New Orleans Pelicans and the Benson family. Just want to say I also want the New Orleans Pelicans here in Shreveport. And so as Chancellor of Southern University at Shreveport, you have my full support. I am here to advocate on behalf of the Southern University at Shreveport campus. Since I've been here over a year and a half, one thing that I have focused on is how we can contribute to this community from not only a higher education standpoint, but from an economic development standpoint. And so the city has been a great partner with us in those endeavors, and I believe that this is another endeavor that we can continue to partner with, if it's training, if it's allowing our sports relationships to participate in the facility and advocate for others to participate in the facility. I see this also as a great economic development driver for the city. As a member of the Southern University system, I will also advocate for members of my Southern University family to utilize the facility. I've had a number of conversations with the athletic director, with the president, to lobby for Shreveport as a venture for Southern University to come here and do tournaments or to do special events. And I believe with the great number of Southern University alumni in the area, it would be a great endeavor to see something like that happen as well. And finally, as a citizen of Shreveport, having been here for a year, having come from a major city like Atlanta, having lived in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, which is about 45 minutes from Birmingham, I've seen the impact of downtown development in Birmingham at the University of Alabama, Birmingham, where that city has just revitalized itself and come alive over the past 10 to 15 years, and in downtown Atlanta. I think that opportunity is also here in Shreveport, and as a citizen of this great city, I would love to see similar endeavors. So you have my full support, and I hope that we will march on together and work collectively to see that this is a successful endeavor. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lewis. Mr. Jonathan Reynolds.
Good evening, Mayor, Chairman Fleury, and Vice Chairman Bowman. My name is Jonathan Reynolds, 2310 Summersworth Drive, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71118. I stand before you in support of Resolution 147 as a native of Shreveport and current resident, as a season ticket holder since 1996 of the New Orleans Saints, a frequent spectator of the New Orleans Pelicans, a graduate of the University of New Orleans, and a previous resident of New Orleans with a daughter that's a sophomore at the University of New Orleans. So I have an intimate experience for the opportunities and the quality of life that the Benson organization and the Saints and Pelicans bring to that community. So I stand in support of this resolution, understanding the quality of life and opportunities that the Shreveport Pelicans will bring to this community. In addition to the jobs and the real estate opportunities, the housing, and all of that, I stand in support of giving the tourists something to do when they come to Shreveport, as well as the residents. So I wanted to come up here and support and say congratulations on the efforts that you have done so far into getting the Benson organization and the G League and New Orleans Pelicans to consider Shreveport for this opportunity, and I wish you much success and good luck.
Thank you. James Washington.
How you doing, guys? I don't know how I end up here right now. I kind of commented on a Facebook post, so I'm here right now. But James Washington, 10027 St. Bernard Drive, 71106. I actually grew up in the area with Bob Bernard living right down the street from me. And I read up on this thing that you guys are trying to bring to Shreveport with the Pelicans, and I was like, I hear a lot of people complaining about the police officers, hear them complaining about, no crimes are being, so I'm like, well, no, the streets are being messed up. I'm like, well, we need something like this to bring to Shreveport area, to bring those tax dollars in to pay for all of this kind of stuff that we need. And I'm a strong believer. I'm a small business. I've been doing my own thing for, I want to say about 14 years, and I can only hire so many people. I think you bringing something like this into the Shreveport area, it'll be a strong thing, something for my kids to be able to go to in the future. And I just want to say, hey, I hope we can get this passed. Let's make it happen.
Thank you, sir. Okay.
Tim Fletcher. State your name and address, Mr. Fletcher, for the record, and we have 3 minutes to take it up.
Tim Fletcher, 760 Wilder Place, Shreveport, Louisiana. How you guys doing? Mayor Tyler. To our esteemed guest here, Mr. Brando. I'm not quite as national as he is, but I'm hairier than Tim, so I'm happy about that. National? We can go national. First of all, I want to say that, I'm a Pelicans fan, I'm a basketball fan, and I will certainly buy season tickets to any team that comes to this city. And I challenge Tim and Kelly to do the exact same thing. I'm a season ticket holder for the Mudbugs, season ticket holder for the Battle Wings when they were here. And I certainly hope that we all participate and support whatever team comes here. Now, there's a couple of things on my mind, though. I'm just curious, what guarantees are there? I know I can't ask questions of you guys, but just trying to pose some things here. I know that the Pelicans are going to be here through the lease. Is that correct, I believe? They're tied here.
Co-terminus with the lease.
Okay. What penalties would be incurred if they do break the lease? Is it anything that's going to break, Tom Benson, one of the wealthiest men in the country? Secondly, what guarantees are there that the development that's being put in place downtown, what is it going to be? What's the guarantee that it's going to be completed after the team arrives here? Will it be a $100 million facility? Will it be a $40 million facility? Just some things that we certainly want to be good stewards of our city. We want good things for our city. We want the Pelicans G League team to be here. And again, just happy that we're having an open discussion about this, and I hope we all have an open mind. Thanks.
Okay, just in response, I'm going to ask Brian to come back up to the podium to talk about their construction phases being coterminous with the facility itself.
Was this a depot forum?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, because I saw a slip at the beginning before y'all were here. Two just walked in and rushed right in. So I'm just kind of wondering if.
They're going to get you 3 minutes, sir.
Pardon me? Y'all take no order?
Point of order. Can we do it where everybody who signed up comes up first, and then we can do? Yeah, let's do it where those who submitted forms get called up.
Sure, absolutely.
Go ahead and get that out of the way.
I just want to answer that question.
Sir?
I'm sorry.
Mr. Chairman.
No, we're going to reserve to after.
We're going to wait till after all of those.
Thank you, Brian.
We move forward.
Ken Kraft.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mayor, Council. Ken Kraft, 157 Arch Avenue, 71105 Shreveport. Start out with a few moments of silence for the 10 sailors on the John McCain. God bless their families. I rise in opposition to Resolution 147 as presented. It's pie in the sky. It's oversold. The convention center was supposed to break even. It loses $200,000 a month, has lost millions. At least we got to vote on that, 1799, and we did vote for Cross Bayou on April 20th, 96, under Mayor Bo Williams. And 21 years later, we're finally maybe going to do something. Trivia question for anybody. 21 years ago today, what did President Clinton sign? Welfare reform, but that's not the point. I really think we should triple up this facility if y'all are going to vote for it. We should do the multi-use as presented. We should build a centenary kind of gold dome, an igloo. We should build it to hold a new Caddo Shreveport 9/11 Special Ops Center that is F5 tornado-proof, flood-proof, and fire-proof. The facility itself could serve a third purpose when the next Katrina, Rita, Gustav, or I comes in, and our brothers and sisters from Mr. Benson's part of the state come up here. They can stay in this facility for a few days. Those who don't have the money to stay at Ramada or Holiday Inn or Chase Suites. We can have a multi-use sports facility, but it can also be eligible for Homeland Security money if it doubles up as a hurricane evacuation center. And it should be a tornado-proof, fire-proof, flood-proof, new 9/11 building. Let's not just build a sports facility. If we're going to build it, let's build a facility that would house evacuees and house our police and fire chiefs. Mr. Bradford, 297 days ago, October 29th, said their needs and wants in the budget hearing that Saturday afternoon. To me, this is a want. I'm sure others consider it a need. To me, a need is 10 new pumpers for Chief Wolverton, streets, drainage, water, sewer. But if we're going to do it, let's double and triple up on the construction. Let's not just build a multi-purpose sports facility. Let's build a facility for those other purposes. There needs to be a little forethought when we spend our public money, and I don't know for sure whether Homeland Security money is available, but I think it might still be. The final thing I want to say is let's get safe on basic elementary things. As a former school superintendent, when you were super, Little Gators had a 15-mile-an-hour speed limit on Uri. Big Gators have 25, Captain Shreve, but AC Steer today is 35. Something's wrong when Little Gators' speed limit is 10 miles higher than Big Gators for school zones.
Meg Tiller. State your name and address, please.
My name is Megan Reese Tiller. I'm a native of Shreveport, Louisiana. I live at 4351 Finley Drive, and I work part-time at Promise Hospital Shreveport on Irving Place. I'm a pharmacist. When I heard all the presentations, I thought, I came in with a closed mind.
Pull that mic down.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
So we can hear you.
When I heard all the talk of the presentations, I thought, maybe this could work, because I was totally against this. I just think this is a really big investment for a town that has unemployment, that has problems. And I still think in a way that maybe this could work, but I'm more like, I'm not sure. Because I saw Fairgrounds Field has become a great big home for bats, and we won't put out the money to abate it. And I'd like to see baseball on a small scale back in this town. But my idea is not necessarily a semi-pro baseball team. I'd like to have it renovated for like some sort of spar activities for young kids to come in and play. I mean, it's there. Why aren't we using it? Why couldn't we have girls softball in there? Why couldn't we also, and this is, I would connect this to SPAR, I would like to have some small air-conditioned basketball sports areas, courts, whatever, but, and some other kind of facility with it in possibly North Shreveport, Mid-City Shreveport, and West Shreveport. I'd like to see us reinvest in SPAR because I grew up with it. I played tennis on their courts from the time I was 11 to 14 years old. As I've already mentioned, I'd like to have bat abatement. I think, what was it supposed to cost, $1 million, $800,000? And Shreveport traditionally does not support semi-pro teams. Captains are gone. We've had arena football that's gone. And to my amazement, I do not know why hockey is big in this southern, hot, God-forsaken town. But it is. And I'm glad for that if they want to go. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
I'm going to ask that we not applaud.
Mr. Bill Weiner.
He's been gone.
Again?
Miss Elizabeth Malone. Elizabeth Malone. State your name and address for the record, please, in 3 minutes.
I'm Elizabeth Malone, 3801 Greenway Place, Shreveport. I'm elected to the Republican Parish Executive Committee at large. Our committee had some questions for the council. We are asking, how can the taxpayer funds for this project be justified given the current financial condition of the city? And why has there been little to no public meetings on this? Given the city's past record of pouring money into low-level sports teams only to see them founder, what's different about this proposal? And is selling the city water and sewer system for $500 million going to fund this project instead of making needed infrastructure repairs? Thank you.
I will once again ask that you not applaud. If you continue to do so, you'll be escorted out.
Mr. Keith Manson. Keith Manson.
Hanson.
Hanson.
Wearing the cap. We didn't recognize you.
Recognize.
State your name and address, Mr. Keith.
My name is Keith Hansen. My address is 10605 Medora Court, Shreveport. So this is my first
city council presentation, but
Welcome.
thank you for having me and allowing me to join in on the discussion.
Did you say that your name was Keith Handsome or Hanson?
Hanson, ma'am.
Watch it,
Like the
I just want to say
So I run a small business. It's 7 years old now. It's called Twin Engine Labs. Some of you may know it. We're a tech company that builds apps and websites, to keep it brief. I saw the news and saw this coming out and certainly had some concerns, but I will say, if it is as you presented it, we're collecting 3 times as much investment from the private sector. It is not being used for, we're not sucking anything else away from traditional investments in infrastructure, et cetera. I don't see any reason why we wouldn't get behind something like this. I guess the only thing that I would implore is that we figure out a way to have equal investment into small businesses like mine. I think small businesses are some of the, our nation has a lot of opportunity for small businesses, and in Louisiana alone, small businesses employ almost as much as big businesses or big sport teams and things like that. It's not, I'm not against this. I just want to be absolutely clear. I am for this. I think anything that we can do to make downtown better and more attractive to out-of-towners and people who want to set up shop here, that should be applauded. What I haven't seen is equal prioritization of funds for small businesses like mine, or I don't know about it, which is a problem in and of itself. My business got to take advantage of a debt program with the city. We have never missed a payment. You have made money on us. My business has been able to turn millions in revenue over the last 7 years. So it's not insignificant when we talk about where that money goes. We have high-paying salaried jobs. Most of that money went to salaries. I've hired over 50 people in 7 years. Most of them have gone elsewhere. So we need something here to encourage people to stay and build small businesses. As well, I would implore that we cater to people who can bring in revenues from outside our state to residents here in the state. That is one of the great benefits of a company like mine. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Oh, McCool.
State your name and address for the record, please.
Sure. My name is Jack McCune. I live at 168 Patton Avenue, 71105. My wife knows Broadmoor. I've been in this town for 27 years. I came here, I could stand downtown where the Blind Tiger is now at noon, I count 4 or 5 people walking down the street at lunch. We've come a long way. We've come a long way. I'm the biggest cheerleader you're going to find when it comes to this town. I love Shreveport. That's why I stayed here. That's why my family was born here. That's why I live here and stay here. Okay? We've got a great quality of life here. But we've had too many misdirected opportunities. I say misdirected because down across Bayou, there was proposed a shopping center. And this, not you folks, but this city council drug their heels. Good Texas Street Bridge, it's on the other side of the river. Okay? You want to spend money for a sports complex? How about putting some paint, new seats, air conditioning, rewire the Hirsch? Nothing wrong with that. It's a 10,000 seat venue that does nothing but around the state fair. The money of any type needs to go back into this city for infrastructure, for our police department that, as far as I'm concerned, is understaffed. I applaud your initiative of, building up more and having these. It's great. We need more. We need all the drainage ditches in this city addressed with some kind of blockage and right-of-way. So we don't have another 2-year-old flushed down a drainage ditch 2.5 miles or so and found dead 3 days later. That's wrong, inconceivable. There is no right-of-way set for that. There's no reason that house should have been that close to that drainage ditch. As far as our past sports teams, I think if I'm wrong, CBA did win a championship when Jacobson was here. I think that's right. We had championship after championship after championship with the captains when they were a San Francisco Giant franchise. We've had opportunities. And it takes off like a brand new restaurant. You open a brand new restaurant, what happens? First month, this place is packed. Can't get in. Second month, backs off a little bit. Third month, now you got your regular crowd. Fourth month, you really see what your business is going to do. That's what we have happen here. I was a journalist when the Shreveport Cavs was here. My first game, it was 10 o'clock. And I looked, and everybody was getting up. And I asked the journalist next to me, where are they going? Oh, everybody goes home at 10. But the game's not over. It doesn't matter. Everybody goes home at 10. We have a great opportunity. This is not it. Not right now. I'd just like to know how much money they're going to make to take back to Alabama instead of being here. Thank you.
Joanne Sigler? Giggler? Joanne Sigler.
My name is Joanne Sigler. I'm 85 years old, and I've only been in Shreveport for 85 years. Some of you might remember my husband, Orvis Sigler, who came to Centenary to be the head basketball and athletic director in 1958. And from the moment he came into this city, all he thought about was sports. I was his second wife after his first wife died and my first husband died. And I learned from 1970 on that God didn't make anything before he made football, basketball. And I really had not been taught that at Kings Highway Christian Church. But so I have had a little bit of information from the sports side that most of you have not had. He was talking under his breath about it. But when Mayor Hazel Beard was our city head, she appointed Orvis as the sports coordinator for the city of Shreveport. And he brought in the Canadian football team. The Shreveport captains were already here, but he and Taylor Moore got the building, the diamond built out there. Eli Jacobson, he got 2 or 3 competitions with Southern University and Grambling. He was one of the founders of the Independence Bowl. He brought young people in with the NCAA, the little children, the basketball girls, and just a whole lot of all that. But the problem always has been support. If we're going to have this, you're going to have to educate Shreveport, just like this lady said before. They all go home at 10 o'clock. So I'm still on the fence, and but I wish you well, and just think about history. Now, these other teams, as someone said a while ago, were owned by somebody more than the ownership of the New Orleans people. But you got to educate who's going to come here. You got to find the workforce. And since Orvis died, I guess I'll still be going to it.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Mr. Sammy Mears.
Sammy Mears, 1901 Centenary Boulevard, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71101. Several weeks ago, it was talked about that the new downtown complex would be able to serve as both a home for the Pelican team and as the great site and good mid-sized sports event center with capacity for 3,000 people, such as with retail offices, apartments, and condos, and I think this is a wonderful idea. Reason being is, it was a wonderful thing then as several weeks ago. I still support it today. And I even enjoyed watching you 5 times on the video before the meeting even started. I still support the idea, which is basketball, volleyball, tennis, also gymnastics, boxing, and would you please consider adding amateur wrestling too? The reason being is WWE Hall of Famer Kurt Angle, who is the general manager of Monday Night Raw, and I know that none of you watch the program, but I do. Years ago, years ago, he won a gold medal in that sport in the Olympics. And I would really applaud if that could be added as well, amateur wrestling. Now, Pensacola, Florida, and Shreveport, Louisiana are the 2 finalists. We need to move ahead. We need to get the Pelicans here before Pensacola does. We get them before they get us. And that is a fact. We get them before they get us. And of course, I hope it means a lot to everyone here. If not, it does to me. And the many people I talk to, they're in favor of getting them here. We've got to do this. So like Mayor Ollie Tyler said, let's do this and get them here before Pensacola steals them away. And we don't want that on our conscience.
I think that's all I have for you. On the reason I'm gonna have Tom Arsenault. Just for the dollars.
If I should whistle, I like that seersucker suit.
Thank
I
you.
told him Joe Shine's going to be jealous.
I ever dress as well as Joe. I'm in really high cotton, Ms. Lynch. My name is Tom Arsenault, 333 Texas Street, Suite 700, Shreveport, 71101. I represent Progressive Bank, and frankly, I wasn't planning to be here to speak, but some of our opponents are here. The matter is not before you for a vote today. It will be before you for a vote in 3 weeks, and I will be communicating with you. I simply make very brief remarks. This particular tract of land is directly across the street from the huge Kroger Center, which is basically about as high density use as you get in the commercial realm. It is going to be a commercial site at some point. A bank is about as low a commercial use as you're going to get in a particular area. Most of the C2, because it has a drive-through, it requires C2 zoning under the new Unified Development Code. But if you're going to have a drive-through and you're going to have a neighbor that's commercial, your probably best neighbor you can get is a bank. So it'll be before you. The MPC unanimously approved it. We will be asking for your votes in a couple of weeks, but you have lots of folks that want to speak to you, and I don't want to take up too much of your time. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Let's see now, you went through the MPC with that application,
Yes, sir.
and you won.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Dr. Paul Wood. State your name and address, please. You have 3 minutes, sir.
Hello, I am Dr. Paul Wood. I reside at 224 Gulf Ridge Drive, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71106. Thank you very much for allowing me to speak, Mayor and councilors. Appreciate all your hard work and dedication. I am respectfully appealing
the C2 zoning on case C-7217. I respectfully, I very much respect Mr. Sweeney and the MPC, but again, respectfully, I think they got this one wrong. I've lived in this area for 34 years at this home on Gulf Ridge Drive. The east side of Ellerby Road is a stable residential neighborhood. All lots have nice homes with the exception of this one lot, this one property. This is the only property in this area on the east side of Ellerby Road that has not been developed. Can I put this here? Is there a way to turn that on?
It should come on.
Okay. This area is not going to become a commercial corridor. It is a stable church and residential corridor. I think it is highly unlikely that there will be any future rezoning along the east side. And I'm talking about this area right through here. They're all already nice homes on all those lots. And the Kroger is significantly further south. You can hardly even see it here because of the elevation change. What is happening at Kroger, I do not feel has an effect further north here where this lot is. The Shreveport-Caddo 2030 master plan shows this area as low-density residential. The Unified Development Code shows this area as residential estates. The property is completely surrounded by RA and RAE zoning. It shouldn't even be C1, let alone C2. It is a classic case of spot zoning. This is all residential property all the way around here. And of course, the Grace Methodist Church is residential zoned also. But if it were to go business, it should go C1 with residential design characteristics resembling the homes in this area, which is what was given to the lot adjacent to my home on the north, just recently, P1017 on May 3rd. C2 zoning, as proposed, is unrestricted. It's not even a planned urban development like the Kroger or the Bluffs. So if it's given unrestricted C2 and the bank decides to locate elsewhere, even if the bank builds there, and banks have been known to close. Time? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. By the way, just to say I appreciate your email, and we'll review that because I'm not as well up to speed on this. There's also an issue. In fact, your property is in the parish. This is in the city. The parish hasn't adopted the UDC at this moment in time, so I'm a little confused administratively how to even proceed at this point. So just telling you that ahead of time, but I do appreciate the email.
Thank you very much.
Neil,
any other questions?
Neil, everyone.
State your name and address for the record, please.
Certainly. Neil Irwin. I'm an attorney at 415 Texas Street, Suite 101, Shreveport, representing Dr. Wood. Mr. Fleury, because you said they went before the NPC and they won, that doesn't make it legal. And that's why we're here. I understand. But that's why we're here. Because with respect to the NPC, they got this not just wrong, but completely wrong. Because there are three serious legal issues with this case. Number one, it's illegal spot zoning because it defines that. It differs measurably from the surrounding zone land without a rational reason. How do we know that? Because the 2030 master plan adopted by the MPC and by the City Council said this is low-density residential, and it has not been changed. It remains low-density residential. The site is completely surrounded by low-density residential. Second, it conflicts with the precedent set just 2 lots away in May of this year, in which B2 rezoning was rejected, B1 was approved with architectural compatibility standards. None of that is present here. It is unrestricted C2 because the bank says they want no restrictions of being able to sell this for a commercial strip center. Third, it directly, as planned, violates the UDC in terms of routing exiting traffic for its drive-through into a residential neighborhood that's been there for 34 years. So the only reason, as Mr. Arsenault said, that Progressive Bank wants the C2 zoning is because they need it for their drive-through. But the drive-through itself violates the UDC. So again, you're not voting on this today. We want to make you aware of it and appreciate your courtesy to Dr. Wood and myself and appreciate your time.
Before you leave, let me just straighten this up. The reason I was asking Mr. Arsenault is because he opined in the Shreveport Times about my actions of trying to make city government work for the people better. And I just wanted to know if he had filed that application and had he won. So I had no idea that you might would have taken that I had already decided, because I haven't. I just wanted to know if he filed the application and won.
Certainly, I certainly appreciate it, and thank you for letting me, for telling me that, and I didn't make any intimation otherwise, that you are going to decide this on the facts before you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Graham Todd. State your name and address for the record, please, in your 3 minutes.
Good afternoon, council members. Graham Todd, 503 Atkins Avenue, 71104. I want to thank the council for this extra time today, speaking regarding zoning matter C-7317. I first want to just ask Mr. Everson, is your father doing better?
No, not today, but thank you.
I'm sorry.
Thank you for checking. But
Sir. What I want to do is I want to correct a couple of matters that occurred during yesterday's presentation, primarily by the proponent, Mr. Quirby's. The document you see before you is the plat. He referred to it as an old document. It is the valid plat from the recorder's office. It was recorded in 1917. It's still valid. How do we know that? I'm going to enter all of these into the record, and that's what I'm trying to do today, is correct the record. This is the last transaction regarding the lots in question. This is the cash sale deed for Mr. Awad, the current owner, where he transfers the property from one of his LLCs to another for $411,000 in 2012. If you read closely, you will see that it references 12 lots total. Those are the 6 lots on Atkins and the 6 lots on Kings Highway. Further government documentary proof of this is also from these 2 documents here, I will admit. Also, these are from the assessor's office. This is the assessor's records for these 2 areas. You'll see that they refer to the 6 lots on Kings and the 6 lots on Atkins. I would also point out that according to the assessor, the 6 lots on Kings are zoned C1, not C2. I don't know if that's an administrative mistake or not. I would commend you to ask Mr. Sweeney to look further into that, but according to the assessor's office, the front portion on Kings is still C2, not C1, not C2 as was offered to you. And then I would also just introduce this to the record. Ms. Penny Brown found this. This is the original announcement for the original theater that was there in 1937. You'll notice there's not a big parking lot. It was a neighborhood community theater. That's what Shreveport's supposed to be like. The last thing I would want to point out is you asked Mr. Sweeney a question, and he responded that what the MPC was trying to do was to create conforming zoning from C2 in the front and make the other one C2 behind it. My only concern with that is if you want to engage in conforming zoning, what's to stop you from conforming the rest of Atkins into C2 and the rest of Highland and the neighborhood? So it just conforms like a growth, as the young lady who spoke yesterday, Ms. Thurman, spoke of a cancer. Thank you very much for your time and your consideration.
Mr. Todd, you did say that the front was C1.
According to the assessor's office, sir, that's what's interesting. The proponent says it's C2, but this, there's these 2 printouts, and you'll be able to look at them, but this one is lots 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15, which are the ones on Atkins, and that says, according to the assessor, it says C1 commercial improvement, and that is the same zoning as the lots on the back on Atkins, which are 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. It says C1 also. So I'm not sure if it's an
We
administrative
can
mistake by
pull
the
a zoning map just to double.
Pardon me?
We can pull a zoning map just to double check
Yes,
that.
yes, sir.
Yeah,
This
but
was from the
thank you.
GeoBase with the assessor's office, but that's the way it came up.
Yeah.
But my main point was that you can see consistently 6 lots on Kings, 6 lots on Atkins.
Thank you for pointing that out.
So, thank you for your time. I'm also going to enter into the record Facebook comments from the last few days. Thank you.
Ms. Pam Todd.
State your name and address, Ms. Todd, and you have 3 minutes.
Okay. Hi, my name is Pam Todd, and I live at 503 Atkins Avenue, Shreveport. And yesterday, we appeared before you. For the people who don't know, we appeared before you, and I started thinking to myself, how did this zoning request ever pass? And so I actually went back and listened to the tapes from the MPC. They have them online. I watched them again last night. And I started thinking to myself, I actually have a particular interest because of the way our property sits in regard to it. But I am just one person. When Mr. Querbase, he's the buyer's agent, when he talked, he was saying, I think and I feel and I think the community, actually I wrote down, I think it's a great location. I think it's needed in the community. I think it would be a good asset. But I, like him, we're one voice. So do my views reflect that of the community? So what I did when I left here last night is I actually went home, wrote up a little petition, and just went knocking door to door to my neighbors, people in my community. Do they feel like I feel? Because I could be missing this on this. So what I did, and this is what the petition said, it says, what are your feelings or concerns regarding the property located in the northwest corner of the Highland and Atkin Avenues, the parking lot of the Old Don Seafood? Are you in support or in opposition of the parking lot being rezoned from the current C1 status to C2? Please feel free to leave any comments that you deem necessary. Thank you for your time. I did not get to as many houses I wanted to get to, but what I did talk to was 39 people. And out of the 39 people that my husband and I talked to, everyone severely opposed it. Full transparency here. When I told these people, like, oh, we don't want the liquor store, I said, I need to be completely honest. We're not talking about a liquor store. We're talking about a simple zoning change, C1 to C2, which may open the door. No, we want to close that door right now. We don't need it. If anything, we need to de-zone or downgrade the present zoning. That's what the residents of my neighborhood want. And I just feel like that needs to be put out here. I know that y'all have big issues that, multi-million dollars, at stake for what everyone else is here for. We're here over a little parking lot, $600,000 what they're asking for. Our neighborhood does not want any zoning change to that. Not an increase, actually a decrease to it. I know we're coming up again on August 12th. I'll continue to go throughout. Also, in full transparency, one gentleman did tell my husband, I'm not for or against. I don't really think it's a bad idea. Something needs to go there. I don't care what it is, something. He goes, but I don't want to sign the petition because I really don't care. So that's full transparency there. But out of the 39 others, everyone said absolutely no, do not change the zoning. Thank you for your time. And I want to actually enter this into the record.
Thank you for doing that, Ms. Todd, to get that information to us. We appreciate that. And this, for those in the audience, this is in my district, and I just want to, for Ms. Todd and anyone, and Mr. Todd and anyone else who may have interest in this, please don't feel that your issue is any less important than any others. We take all of these type of considerations very important, and with seriousness. And we have received a good bit of communication from people in that area. And we certainly appreciate you being so communicative, so that we can make an informed decision.
Dr. Frank Hughes. State your name and address, Mr. Hughes. 3 minutes, sir.
I am Frank Hughes, 530 Atkins Avenue, Shreveport. Mayor Tyler and City Council members, thank you for your time. My wife Mary and I have lived at 530 Atkins Avenue for the last 19 years. Our home was built in 1922. Mary has had an art studio in the Highland area for the last 35 years. We've owned 3 homes in Highland or South Highlands. We love the area. We have invested heavily in maintaining and updating our current home, keeping it true to its history. Our home is part of the block that Don Seafood is on. We miss it. Our block backs up to Don Seafood and Family Dollar on Kings Highway. We believe in living in existing homes rather than clearing new land for new homes. We like being in the city in the older homes. How sad to see these areas not respected and enjoyed. The homes are unique, a gift of our Shreveport lovely early neighborhoods. If the city of Shreveport and the MPC do not respect this part of our city, it will become a place new buyers do not want to invest in. And we will lose our beautiful early homes and neighborhoods. The request of a gas station, convenience, liquor store to be erected at the former Don Seafood location makes no sense business-wise or neighborhood-wise. There are 3 gas stations already, a Chevron across the street from Don's, a new Circle K Shell station a block away, and an Exxon station at the corner of Lime Avenue and Kings Highway. They all have convenience stores. Berkshire's Grocery is right across the street from Family Dollar, and they surround that location. Walgreens is up the street at Kings and Lime Avenue. They also have liquor and food items. All those things are competing with each other within just a few blocks. What a poor investment it would be to provide the same things already available right on top of this new business. It is either doomed to failure or it will put the existing businesses out of business, particularly the gas stations. The public schools are very important to me as a pediatrician. There are good reason not to have liquor stores in that location. There's an elementary school at Cresswell Avenue. Byrd High School is right up the street at Kings Highway. And we already have enough liquor and alcohol in Shreveport. There's no reason to have anything this close to our schools. This is a community, a neighborhood, and everything this business is providing is already here. We don't want blight in our neighborhood. We don't want children in our community to be exposed to things that are not healthy. And I would like to say a kind word to Jeff Everson. He was very kind to help us get our retaining wall behind the whole 500 block of Atkins replaced because it was falling down, and he took care of that for us. Thank you so much.
We're very patient in that, too. I appreciate you bringing that to our attention.
Thank you for your time.
It was one that took a lot of communicating back and forth. It wasn't the city's retaining wall, but it was the president. But we appreciate that, Dr. Houston. Thanks for your comments.
Ashley Atkins. State the name and address, Ms. Atkins, for the record. Yes, anything else?
Hi, I'm Ashley Atkins. I live at 126 Centenary Circle. My offices are at 235 Kings Highway. I am here to appeal the MPC's decision. As a City of Shreveport resident, I'm also the owner of 225 Kings Highway, 231 Kings Highway, 235 Kings Highway, 245 Kings Highway, 249 Kings, 257 Kings, 303 Kings, 321 Atkins Avenue, 325 Atkins Avenue, and the Centenary Apartments at the corner of Atkins Avenue and Centenary Boulevard. We have quite a few tenants, plus I live in the area as well. This greatly concerns me. There is no positive research on liquor stores being in neighborhoods. Anybody can Google what positive impact liquor store has in a neighborhood, and there is zero. In addition, I know it has been brought up that Cresswell Elementary is barely outside the 300-foot radius for a liquor store. I would also ask that a measurement needs to be done from this location to the Byrd High School student parking lot. I believe you might be within the 300 feet required distance there, and this would be null and void. Making this lot C2 is going to negatively, in fact, impact our area. It will make Atkins Avenue a major thoroughfare, which it's never been. I know the MPC is eager to get somebody in the building because it has been vacant for 8 years. But as we all know, there have been buildings in downtown Shreveport vacant for 40 years. This is not the highest and best use for this property. We can do better than this. In addition, like was already said, there are 3 gas stations already in this area. We don't need another one in a 1-block radius. That's it.
Thank you, Ms. Atkins. And just again, for just to make sure everybody understands in the context, we mentioned this yesterday, but for the benefit of the discussion today, I should say it today as well, is that this development, because of the unified development process, is a little bit different on what's required here. There's sort of 2 sets of decisions that would have to be made both by the MPC and the City Council. The first would be this rezoning request, which is a decision that has already been made by the MPC, and it automatically comes to the City Council for our review and discussion and vote. There is another application that also has to happen. With that decision that's before us that we would vote on September 12th is going to be the decision on that B1, B2, B1, which is now called C1, to C2, a change in the commercial zoning. The secondary decision is that they would also have to apply for what's called a special use permit to the MPC, and that requires 2 separate special use permits, one for gas pumps and then one for alcohol sales. Those things would not, should they get that far, should this situation go that far, those things don't automatically appeal to the council. So should that, come to pass, that would need to be appealed. It is appealable to the council, but it doesn't come automatically. So just want to make sure that everybody understands the process so that everyone who's interested can have a chance to have input.
Ben Walker. State your name and address for the record, please. Mr. Walker.
Good afternoon. I'm Ben Walker with Walker Alley and Associates, 315 Fannin Street, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71101. I'm the agent that's representing the seller of the property. I understand that Mr. Corby's, the agent for the buyer, was here yesterday. I just wanted to ask for your support to rezone the rear portion of this property from C1 to C2. And it is my understanding that the city, on the new Uniform Development Code, the city has the maps that shows the property front part is C2. I've had this property listed for 2 years. It's been vacant for 8 years. The property has deteriorated. It's been tremendous vandalism. All the air conditioning equipment has been stolen. The electrical wiring has been pulled out. I've shown it many times over the 2 years I've had it listed, and we've had people that thought they could go in and possibly renovate the building, but it's not economically feasible to do that. So I did have several retail operations that were interested in the property. But to redevelop this property for retail, you demolish the building, then you reorient the property to face Kings Highway, not Highland and not Atkins. A new building would be put on the rear portion of the property with all the activity, the parking and traffic in the front part of the property. And this is the only way that would be feasible to renovate it. The developer of this has gone to great lengths in designing a structure that has brick facade, shingled roof to blend into the neighborhood. So I'm just here to ask for your support. The MPC did unanimously vote for this zoning change, and I would hope that you would support this. And we would hate to see the building just sit there vacant, continually deteriorate, be torn down, and have another vacant lot in Shreveport with grass growing up through the brick and slab area. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Alicia Lockhart.
State your name and address for the record.
Alicia Lockhart, 521 Atkins Avenue. I'm in the third house down from the end. Moved to my home in 2005 to open the Lazy Boy Furniture Gallery here in Shreveport. At the time when I purchased the land for the gallery, it was zoned agricultural. It was a big change. We were very grateful to get the zoning changed because we know that cities change. Things move and things happen. However, my house on Atkins Avenue is almost 100 years old. The neighborhood has not changed. We're all still there. And the zoning change, I don't believe, reflects the way in which the city is moving, because nothing's moving. We have plenty of retail with grocery store, gas stations. I mean, we've heard all this before. I would understand, like our business when we purchased 3 acres, needing to change zoning. However, I don't see why we would do it now. I'm sorry that the owner's business, the building is old. It will need to be torn down. I can understand that. But, that's neither here nor there. I do, see how much money all businesses in Shreveport generate. I'm a medium-sized business, and, employment, taxes, it's important. And I know that. However, there's a place for business to be, and this may not be the right place for this business. And thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Mr. Panisi? Is it Pat?
It's Patty.
I'm sorry.
My name is Patty Pernisi. I live at 5830 Fern Avenue, Shreveport, 71105. I own the Chevron at 3103 Highland Avenue. It is now closed. I've had to close it because of the Circle K that moved into the same block as me. That was never. I was never informed about that until it was a done deal. So I live with it. But my sales went down so badly that I can't, I don't have a dog in this hunt anymore. But I am supporting the neighborhood, and I don't feel that this project is correct for this neighborhood. I think it's too big. I don't think there's enough retail to support it. If there's not enough for my little old place, there certainly is not enough for that big project. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Panisi. That's all I have.
Okay. That concludes public comments. Everybody has had an opportunity to speak. Got all. Okay. There are no executive appointments to be considered today. There are no items under consent agenda introduction. Mr. Thompson, will you please continue?
We on the consent agenda?
Okay.
We're still in the same meeting.
There are several items on the consent agenda, resolution 141, 143, and 148. Motion to adopt the consent agenda would be in order.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Motion by Councilman Everson and second by Councilman Bowman. Are there any discussion? Please vote. And those motions are passed.
Mr. Chairman, we now have the resolutions on second reading and final passage, of which require only one reading. Resolution 134 authorizes the mayor to execute an acceptance of the act of donation between the city and Lakeside RMA LLC.
So moved. Second. Motion by Councilman Corbin, second by Councilman Bowman. Any discussion? Please vote. And that's adopted.
Resolution 135 authorizes the mayor to execute an acceptance of the act of donation between the city and S&J Development of Shreveport for the private water and sewer improvements for Oakwood Trace Water.
Motion by Councilman Corbin, second by Councilman Bowman. Any discussion? Please vote. And motion passes.
Resolution 136 authorizes the mayor to execute a surface use and road right-of-way agreement associated with building one pad to drill up to 5 gas wells and the use of existing roads at the City of Shreveport sledge field located along the Harts Island Road.
Motion. It was motion by Councilman Corbin, second by Councilman Jenkins.
Discussion.
Discussion.
So I did talk to Malcolm Stadlander. I expressed in yesterday's meeting a few little administrative things that I think we should amend in the contract itself. But that's essentially, we're voting here to authorize the mayor to sign something close to that contract. So Malcolm and I have had that discussion. I'm assuming you'll take that into account when we get to the actual negotiation piece. And, but I'm supportive of this legislation.
Please vote. Motion passes.
Resolution 137 authorizes the use of certain city-owned equipment by the Junior League.
Motion by Councilman Everson, second by Councilman Bowman. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes.
Resolution 138 authorizes the execution of a cooperative endeavor agreement between the Shreveport.
Motion by Councilman Everson, second by Councilman Bowman. Any discussion? Please vote. This is for the waterway. The motion passes.
Resolution 139 authorizes a cooperative endeavor agreement between American Idol Productions and the City of Shreveport.
Motion by Councilman Everson, second by Councilman Bowman. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes.
Resolution 140 authorizes a cooperative endeavor agreement with Get Up.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Everson, second by Councilwoman Lynch. Any discussion?
I'll just use this as a reminder. This is the CCM Forum event, and it's a great event. And,
Please vote.
Always here to learn more about our past and celebrate it.
That motion passes.
Resolution 144 encourages our U.S. congressional delegation, Governor Edwards and Major General Glenn Curtis, Adjutant General of the Louisiana National Guard, to support funding for Phase 2, Phase 3, and Phase 4 of the Regional Training Institute on Camp Minden and otherwise provided restricted.
So moved.
Second. Motion by Councilman Jenkins, second by Councilman Bowman. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes.
Resolution 149 authorizes the mayor to execute a proposal from Unicode.
Move to postpone. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. This is the Unicode one. Sorry.
Between the Unicode and the City of Shreveport for the codification of the Shreveport Unified Development Code.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilwoman Lynch and a second by Councilman Everson. Yes.
Yeah, no, my apologies on my comment. There are two things dealing with the Unified Development Code on the agenda today. And
any discussion, please vote. Motion passes.
We now have the introduction of resolutions not to be adopted prior to September the 12th.
Mr. Chairman.
Point of order.
It's customary for the council to introduce these simultaneously, but I'm going to request that we introduce them separately. Is that agreeable?
Do I hear any objection?
There's no objection.
No objection.
We'll serve it. Resolution 145 authorizes the mayor and the Shreveport Police Department to apply and execute grant applications and any and all grant documents jointly with Caddo Parish Sheriff's Office to the United States Department of Justice.
No motion. Second. Motion by the chair, second by the vice chair. Any discussion? Please vote.
Just so everybody would know, this is for introduction only on these items. Resolution 146 acknowledges that the City Council.
Councilman, I need your mic.
Motion approved.
Resolution 146 acknowledges that the City Council has reviewed the 2017 Internal Municipal Water Pollution Prevention Report concerning the North Regional and Lucas wastewater plants documents.
So moved.
Second.
I have a discussion on that. It says that the city council reviewed that. Did we actually review that?
You were supposed to give us a memo. And recall, it is only for introduction. We are not adopting that.
Okay. We'll expect our report in 2 weeks.
Right.
Please,
Rule the
vote.
chairman to propose some kind of executive.
Councilman. Are we gonna get
I
the
second
report? Do we have an answer? We are.
Motion passed.
For introduction is Resolution 147, employing professionals with respect to the issuance of not exceeding $30 million of revenue bonds for the Shreveport Sports Complex.
So moved. Second.
Project.
Motion by Councilman Bowman,
Question, Mr.
second
Chairman.
by Councilman, in discussion?
Discussion.
Okay, Councilman Bradford? Corbin, I'm sorry. You're on board first.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to support introducing this resolution today. I think from the comments that we heard both for and against the project, and I know all of us have full email inboxes and voice messages from citizens. I'd like to use this next 2 weeks and hope there'll be a better education campaign, because some of the comments that have come back to me are, how can the city bond $100 million? Why are we considering a D-League team? What about an A, B, or C league team? Why not start at the top? Why not use this money to do other things that are much needed in our city, like infrastructure, public safety issues, things like that? So while I think the administration has done a good job to Mr. Benson and his team in bringing in the development team, I think that we have a very small window and a big need to talk to our citizens and make sure that they have appropriate information and that we listen to them, and then when we come back and vote on this in 2 weeks, we've heard from some informed folks. I certainly recognize that we can't inform everybody, and some minds have already been made up. But I think that many of us up here are going to have some additional questions over the next 2 weeks. I'm working on my list. I know that we will get questions from other citizens. This is tricky. It's not like a GO bond issue where we say we're going to spend this and it's associated with a property tax. We're talking about this coming from multiple revenue sources. Some of those revenue sources are not realized yet, and that may give some people heartburn. But I think that we need to do a better job of getting accurate information out there, laying this all out, and then we can come back and discuss it in the next steps. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Councilman Bradford?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me first express my appreciation to the administration and to the leadership group who have made a very, very good presentation today. And I want you all to know that I don't think nobody on this council would not embrace and support a reasonable proposal that would improve this community and the quality of life that any proposal would afford us. But I think we need to and I hope we can have a very full and open discussion between the councils at this point, because it's obvious that, and somebody once said that we don't see things as they are. We see things as we are. And after 2 and over half years on the council, I think we have somehow became conscious of the way we see things. There's several ways that we see things. We see things from our districts, we see things from our constituents, we see things from the responses we get from others. It's like what happened today and what has been coming through us through social media and phone calls and emails, is that we're getting a view of Shreveport that has a very broad undertake. This proposal was presented in the way you see things. Several meetings ago, Lynn Stevens came and presented a report that is categorized as the Alice Report, where it showed that this city has a poverty level of 24.9 and a working poor level, if you would include the working poor, of another 20%, which means that 49% of the residents of this city either are on or below the poverty level. This is no reflection on anybody who's currently in any elected position. Someone once said that the future belongs to those that prepare for it today. What we are about to engage upon has not been prepared for, because the demographics of this city is what it is. It is what it is. When this proposal was introduced, the proposal to engage in the request for the proposal, I said then that this city is not a sports town, and that we did not have the residents nor the disposable income to support sports. And I based that on my history in Shreveport. We've had various teams, all types of sports teams. We've had winning teams and we've had losing teams. It didn't matter. This city and this region did not support teams. I asked some of my friends and constituents of all races about what do they think about this. And I think somebody said that it being new, somebody would probably come to it for a couple of games and then it'll wait off, because they said that this is not a basketball town and they're not basketball fans. I asked one of my coworkers who lives down on Ellaby Road, would he bring his two young boys downtown to watch most likely predominantly black basketball team play basketball for 25 games a year? And he said he didn't think so. This is about priorities. It's been stated. I think Ken Krafts used one of my metaphors when he said that I said in our budget meetings, where we have over I don't know, $10 million in unfunded needs, and I asked, was these needs or wants? Because if they're needs, they need to be put up on the priority list. If they're wants, then that's a different consideration. But the needs of this city are real. And we have not addressed those needs. And those needs going to come back and bite us. If not this council, then the next council, because the next council will be elected next year. We keep kicking the can down the road. Whereas this may be a very viable and productive application proposal. I haven't gotten there. I haven't heard anything yet that will tell me that the demographics of this city and region would support not only the basketball arena, but also the accompanying venue that is being proposed. I can only look across the river at the Louisiana Boardwalk, who's 1/3 empty. I can look at the businesses that are leaving Uri Drive. I just don't see in a city and in a region that is borderline poverty engaging and supporting a team, venue of this sort. Because it is, again, no reflection. It's only because we did not prepare for this. If we prepare for this, then the disparity between our city residents would not be where they are. And that we would have the income or the resources to participate. We cannot give away enough complimentary tickets to support this bill. Then when it comes to the public-private relationship that this is proposing, there's a difference there, because on the public side, this body has to be accountable and responsible to our taxpayers. So what we do and engage public dollars in a venue, we have to be clear that it's in the best interest of not a few, because I'm telling you, at best, 25 games, the G League season is 25 games. 50 games, which means that only 25 will be played here. So how much employment could that produce? Part-time at best. And without a very serious occupant of that venue, what would make people want to come there versus staying down on your drive or going to the board? We didn't prepare for this today. Our priorities need to be straight, my colleagues. There are some questions that's going to be asked, but I'm going to yield because I did some research. Now, when the D League at the time was launched, there was 30 teams. Now there's 27. One is being added this next year. So that there has been some history that teams or cities had pulled out.
That's not accurate.
But then,
They moved.
why wouldn't the Benson family assist in building the arena? After all, he's the richest man in Louisiana. And with the proposal, our submitting of a proposal, usually teams is attractive to cities because they believe that that city has the potential of supporting that type of venue, that type of entertainment, and to put us in a position to obligate, attempt to obligate, propose to obligate $30 million of taxpayers' money that is being in the name of revenue bonding is a very, as Councilman said, very challenging and sticky situation for us. So I'm going to yield, Mr. Chairman, but I want to ask later that the Bensons consider if there was 5 or 6 cities that submitted RFPs, now we're down to 2. Were they eliminated or did they pull out of the process? I yield, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
No, I just have a general comment, so if you're going to respond to that question.
I was just asking if you want to ask the question, we want to do it now while you're discussing.
No, I want the other councilman. Yes.
Councilwoman Lynch.
Yeah, push your button.
And I don't know if it won't let me do it because
It won't push buttons.
you can't do it now.
You couldn't
either. You can't do it once it's
You just want us to go on and vote, don't you? Okay. I just had a couple of questions. One, what is the probability of this announcement being made before we actually vote on this on September the 12th? Do we know?
I do not know.
Okay. All righty. Because I guess my concern is that an announcement will be made if it's Shreveport, and then we're kind of coming after that. So, okay. My second question is, are there plans, kind of piggybacking on Councilman Corbin, are there plans to have any public education forums? I mean, are you all going to, go on the road, so to speak?
Yeah, we have about 3 weeks, I think, before we come back to council this time, and we will be able to better educate the public. I think we have said from day one, because we were in a competitive process, we could not reveal the plan. And so there was no intent for us not to talk to the public about our intentions, but because of the competitive process, the RFP that was submitted, we would not have been able to have the kind of edge if we told everything in our RFP. And so we will spend the next 2 or 3 weeks better educating our community about this economic opportunity, because that's what it is. And I'll say to our publics today, if you'll go on the website tomorrow morning, we'll have this presentation up there. But we will spend some time responding. And we realize that some people feel that this opportunity is not an economic development opportunity, but it is. We know there are many needs in this city, Councilwoman and council members. And I can just tell you, without vision and without economic opportunity and progress, we will not be able to meet those needs. This opportunity will give us a chance to meet some of the needs that we have. Because right now we don't have the funding coming in. But if we can pull together this vision, I believe, otherwise I would not be doing it. I think it's going to be a game changer for Shreveport, Louisiana. Because people do love professional basketball, and this is a professional team. I know that there have been some minor leagues that didn't make it, but most of them that didn't make it changed from a major professional team to something else. And I can just tell you, this is an economic opportunity. And most cities that have the natural waterways that we have, if you look at the research, when they've done something really exciting and had a card to draw from, like the NBA Pelican G League team, of course the G is Gatorade, Councilman Corbin, so you can tell them it's Gatorade. That's the big company behind all of the developmental leagues for the NBA. And we'll be glad to do due diligence over the next few weeks. We've not been able to do that because we were still in competition. But yes, ma'am, we're going to do what we need to do to educate our publics so that people will know this is not just about one team, but this is a true economic development opportunity that only comes usually once in a lifetime, and it's going to benefit everybody in this city. So we'll get out there and do the work that needs to be done.
Okay, so do you know what that format is going to be? Is it going to be going to different parts, or are we going to have something, you know?
I don't know what the format is yet, but I am going to pull together my team, and we'll see what we need to do to actually educate the public.
And one of the reasons why I'm, of course, if anybody that knows me knows that, you know, the power is with the people. And I'm very interested in getting feedback from the community at large.
Yes.
Because some of the names that are floating around, people are calling it the O-Dome. Some people are calling it Auditorium. And so right now, because we've not had that broad community engagement, people are looking at it as a special project of the mayor. And so, you know, you're starting to hear some of these meme type things. So I want to make sure that information, you know, now, as you said, is readily available and people can give us some feedback, because people that were sending us emails prior to today, well, today and yesterday and maybe the day before, you know, I was just responding saying, you know, make sure you look at the presentation on today. One person sent me a text saying that after looking at the presentation, they thought it had more potential than what they originally thought. Another person said, well, it almost sounds too good to be true after seeing the presentation today. So I'm going to be looking for, you know, some of those folks, those 20 or 25 emails I got, after they've seen this presentation, I'd definitely be interested. So if you all, anybody that sent us emails saying that they weren't for this, after you've seen the presentation, maybe gotten some more information in some of the community meetings that are coming up, I'd love to have your feedback. Okay, thank you.
That's it. A comment by Councilman Jenkins and then Councilman Gordon.
And just the one thing I think for all elected officials, it is certainly incumbent on us to explore every viable economic opportunity for this city right now. And I think we're absolutely selling ourselves short if we don't take an opportunity where legislation is being introduced only today to use this as a platform to not only educate ourselves but educate the city at large. Obviously, I'm not an expert on professional basketball, but this is certainly a viable economic opportunity for our city, and we need to absolutely collectively gather the expertise that we have in this city to fully vet this process. And I'm interested in doing that for the next 3 weeks, and certainly support, you know, any efforts you may make.
Thank you, sir.
Councilman Corbin. And then
Just a quick procedural comment. I know many of us have received emails saying, you know, vote this down today, make it go away. Introducing this piece of legislation and in 3 weeks approving this piece of legislation does not sell the first bond, does not do anything but continue the discussion. There are numerous additional steps that would have to be made by the council to pull the trigger, if you would. Or maybe shoot the hoop, I guess is a better way to say it. But this gives us some time and gives us some opportunity to look into this more, you know, flesh out the details. And I just want everyone who's listening to
be aware that introducing this or approving this piece of legislation does not start a process that can't be stopped.
Oh, I was going to make a similar comment, is that even in the purpose of the legislation, just for clarity's sake, so that we can have a good open discussion and people understand what we're voting on each time, even in the purpose of this ordinance, it says this, or this resolution, it says this resolution is only a preliminary step in the process. It does not obligate the city financially. So I know that we have heard from people who seem to have different, have received different information, and it is hard when you're trying to listen to a wide variety of people and take in all those thoughts and concerns and considerations, and you do see that there is some misunderstanding of the information in the public. So just want to point out that this is very much a preliminary step, and it is a good time to open the discussion, and look forward to there being a lot more opportunities to talk about this with the citizens of Shreveport and see how they go.
Councilman Bradford.
Yeah, I was interested in the question that was made regarding the private investors, the timeline and doing their construction. Okay, who's going? Will somebody answer that?
Mr. Wolf, you want to come up, please?
Councilor Bradford, our intent and the intent of, I believe, the Pelicans was that a large amount of the development that would occur in Phase 1 would open commensurate with the sports complex. So our intent would be have a large majority of that open so that you can create a district and a place, as Meredith mentioned, that people can employ and understand and goes along with the sports complex. So it would be on the same timeline.
On one phase of it.
Yes, so the first phase would be the largest phase, then we'd have some ancillary phases to develop out.
How did you become familiar with this project, and what interests you into engaging in it?
You want to pick up there?
The project, as you know, was a RFP, and we were actually, Mr. Bradford over here knew about us and asked us to come over and talk about it. This platform, as we mentioned before, Urban Anchor Platform, is one that we pursue on a regional basis, so it was a natural fit for us. But we, when we came to Shreveport, we didn't know a lot about Shreveport. We did a lot of work to know a lot about Shreveport, and it's definitely a place that we would like to invest dollars in. Thank you.
Let me ask you while you're up, Robert. Have you all done any market studies?
I'm sorry?
Any market studies?
We have done some market studies. We continue to do market studies. So we have, when we look at these types of projects, we're looking for things like population base, location, what makes up the city, those types of things. So we look at that initially, and then as we round out our development plan, we continue to kind of do a check and balance to make sure we're on target. Thank you.
Yeah, no. Can anybody answer or respond to how where we are now as it relates to the final two cities, Pensacola and Shreveport? Starting out with 5 or 6, how was that process dwindled to the final two? Can anybody answer that?
No, we cannot, because that's what the Pelican NBA organization does. I mean, we don't have access to their process.
Okay.
We just know that when we were notified that we were on the short list a few weeks ago, then we were notified last week we were on the shortest list, which was 1 of 2 cities. And so we are still, and let me just say, this is not about Ollie Tyler. And I need to make that clear. This is about the city of Shreveport. When I took on this position of service, because I'm not a politician, I want to help my city. And this project is going to help us develop, keep young people in this city so that they will have a chance to also help Shreveport continue to grow. And so, yes, I'm the mayor, but this is not about me. This is about making sure that our young people who leave and go to Dallas and Atlanta and other places have opportunity. And this project is going to help us build those opportunities. But no, sir, to answer your question, we don't know the process. And I think I've already mentioned that Mr. Pate is here. He represents the Pelican and the Benson family. But because we're still in competition, he's not able to speak today.
Mayor, I appreciate those remarks. And I know it's not about our retirement.
Thank
Just
you.
like it's not about any one of us. It's business, not personal. And that we just sometimes believe in different things.
Absolutely.
And I think it's incumbent upon you and your administration to offer things that you believe in.
Absolutely.
And it's in the responsibility of this council to scrutinize and the public to scrutinize what's being proposed.
Absolutely.
And if it can meet public scrutiny, then I think it may warrant such support.
Absolutely.
But again, I think we haven't gotten there because, I mean, there's some questions that I think need to be presented and addressed to the council in regards to what is projected tax revenue generated from this proposal. What economic impact would it have on the city over a certain length of time? You know, will the attendance of games play a factor in revenue generation and how that will pan out in, you know, with the Pelicans if we don't, if the support is not initially there, if we're losing team, how is their commitment still there? You know, because I mean sometimes things happen. That's how the Jazz left New Orleans once upon a time because the support wasn't there. You know, they came back with the the Pelicans, but I mean oftentimes, sometimes the first time around don't work. But I'm again using my experiences in this city as a longtime resident.
Right.
And I could easily be wrong, but I'm saying there's nothing in the history of Shreveport that tells me that we will embrace this wholeheartedly. And I think even some of the, you know what's really kind of disturbed me at this point is we hadn't heard a whole lot today, but the council members could attest that we've been getting flooded with communications from residents. Sometimes they mass mail us, they email us. Sometimes they individually email us. And if that attitude and maybe this 2 or 3 week window could change that, but if we move forward with the sentiments that I'm hearing and some of the other councilmen are hearing, then that's going to be a rebellion to support it, even if we agree to it. The public don't have to be sold on it. Because again, because of the demographics and the makeup of this city, and those who are sports fans and those who are not sports fans, and I mean, we're only talking about at best 15 to 20% of our residents are going to be even interested in this, and the region may reflect that same demographic. So I'm just saying it has to be. I mean, transparency to its highest needs to be exhibited over the next several weeks.
And if I could,
Councilwoman, Lynch, you wanted to speak before we vote,
and then we'll vote.
3 times. I think this is the second on this.
You're up for 3.
Who's counting?
Apparently I am.
Okay, well, let me say, we're in a political office, okay? We're engaged in politics, and like the mayor, when I was first elected, I hated the word politician. I hated it. Didn't want to be referred to as a politician. But I've been elected 4 times now, and I've accepted that being a politician is not a bad thing, although generally, you know, sometimes it's perceived to be a bad thing. But having done this for nearly 14 years now, I'm okay with if somebody calls me a politician. The vote that we're going to take today is a preliminary step, as others have said. I'm supporting it. The feedback that we've gotten is preliminary because people did not have all of the information. But it is still important. I mean, I was perusing, I think one of the media networks posted this story, and there were already 158 comments. And I kind of quickly scrolled through quite a few of them, and none of them were in support of this. I don't know if they had an opportunity or they were just listening and, were just not in support of it, or if they had actually gone through, the presentation information. But I'll be, looking at different feedback. But these are the people that we're going to be depending on to attend these games. We're talking about having 2,500 to 3,500 people in those seats for every game. And so I'm very interested in the community education piece that we're going to do, as well as getting feedback from the citizens. So that's going to be so important over these next two to 3 weeks. The tour or whatever the mayor and her staff comes up with to provide additional information, ask additional questions. I'm asking, my constituents and everyone to try to attend so that you can be informed and have an intelligent opinion on, whether you feel like we should move forward even further in the process or not. So, thank you.
Okay. Let's vote. And the motion carries. Mr. Thompson, introduction of ordinances.
Not to be adopted prior to September the 12th. Do you want me to read these separately or all together?
If it's okay, we'll just do them in lump sum. Yep.
83 designates Winston Street and Gary Street as one-way streets from Texas Avenue to Murphy. Ordinance 84 authorizes the purchasing agent to advertise for and solicit sealed bids to sell to the highest responsible bidder surplus city-owned and movable property and all improvements located at 400 Crockett Street, Shreveport, Louisiana. It's the Shreveport downtown bus terminal. Ordinance 85 amends the 2017 general fund budget. Ordinance 86 amends the 2017 general fund budget. Ordinance 87 amends Chapter 74, Article 2, Section 74-31 of the Code of Ordinances relative to recycling. Ordinance 88 authorizes the mayor to execute a lease of a portion of city-owned property in Gatto Parish and East Stoner Avenue and River Parkway Boulevard, commonly referred to as Veterans Park, to Eco Site LLC for placement of a flagpole cell tower for purposes which benefit the public. 89 is a zoning matter. It rezones property located on the northeast corner of Elgin Road and Gulf Ridge Drive. Ordinance 90 is a zoning matter. It rezones property located on the northwest corner of Highland Avenue and Atkins Street from C1 Neighborhood Commercial District to C2 Corridor Commercial District. And Ordinance 91 is a zoning matter. It rezones property located east of 12 Mile Bayou, found by Nelson Street.
So moved to introduce.
Motion by Councilwoman Lane, second by Councilman Coleman. Any discussion? Please vote. And those are not marked. Mr. Thompson, proceed.
We're now in ordinances on second reading and final passage. Ordinance 76 amends various sections of the City of Shreveport Unified Development Code. Mr. Jefferson, you...
So moved to postpone. Yeah. Second. Motion postpone by Councilman Jenkins, second by Councilman Beverly. Any discussion? Please vote. And motion passed.
Ordinance 77 authorizes the mayor and Sportran to execute a lease of city-owned property located
Second.
Okay.
Motion by Councilman Everson, second by the chair. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, this is not to be adopted prior to September 12th.
No, then
Oh,
so moved to
okay.
postpone.
All right.
Second.
Second by, any discussion? Please vote.
Program.
And motion carried.
Ordinance 78 amends the 2017 budget funding contractual services provided by Sport Trans.
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Nick, second by Councilman Bowman. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion carried.
Ordinance 79 amends the 2017 capital improvements budget.
So moved.
Second. Motion by Councilman Everson, second by the chair. Any discussion? Please vote.
Please vote.
And that carries. Doctor.
Ordinance 80 amends the 2017 general fund budget.
Motion. Over to the chair. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Everson. Any discussion? Please vote. And motion passed.
Did mine get on there?
I'm showing all green.
Yeah.
Okay.
It didn't figure out.
Councilman Jenkins, is yours a yes vote?
Yes, but it showed up on the screen.
Not over here.
I got you.
Okay. Ordinance 81 amends and replaces section 90-363 of the Code of Ordinances relative to parking.
So moved.
Second. Councilman Everson, motion, second by the chair. Any discussion? Please vote. Okay.
That's adopted.
Motion.
Ordinance 82 needs to be postponed.
So moved.
Motion by Councilwoman Lynch, second by Councilman Jenkins. Any discussion? Please vote. The motion stopped.
Those are all of the items on the regular agenda. I'm not aware of any matter to be removed from the table.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Resolution 44 of 2017, Mr. Crawford, I think we tabled that on administration's request. Just before the next meeting, can we get an update of where that is and if we need to take any action?
Certainly, we'll send something to you.
Thanks.
Okay. All right, there's no property standards facilitated, no ABO appeals, there's no MPC, ZDA. Are there any appeals, Mr. Thompson, you're aware of?
I'm not aware of any appeals, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, are there any reports from officers, boards, or committees?
If I could, it come to our attention that one of the appointments that was that is to be considered at our next meeting came today to be introduced, and somehow she was overlooked earlier in the meeting. I'd like to see if we could invite Sherry, or if that's okay with the council.
I am so sorry.
I didn't even see her back there.
I saw her, but I thought she was patiently waiting for another item on the agenda, and I didn't even click with me what's going on.
We certainly apologize to her.
No, I learned a lot.
Thank you for being patient.
Thank you. My name is Sherry Kerr, and I live at 2745 Fairfield Avenue, 71104.
Okay. Any questions?
Well, she's up for reappointment to the Greater Shreveport Human Relations Commission.
Okay.
And as you know, that commission was appointed at the end of 2014. And so they are just getting together a great foundation to be able to help our citizens from that commission. So I'm appointing her, I'm reappointing her to this board with your confirmation.
Okay.
just want to thank Dr. Kerr for her service so far, and she's a constituent of mine, and I know she brings a considerable amount of talent and expertise to that board. And I appreciate
Well,
it.
thank you. I'm pleased to do that. I think we have a very good commission. Their hearts are in the right places. We've had several meetings. We've had 3 mediations. So it's a place where people can come and be heard. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate you being patient.
Could we have a correction on her last name?
Yes.
Kerr. How do
It's
you spell it?
K-E-R-R. I don't know if we got
They
Kerry
it spelled
on here.
wrong
but
on the agenda.
Is it K-E-R-R?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's got an
Dr.
additional
Sherry
Y.
Kerr.
No Y in there. Okay.
No Y.
Ms. Thompson, you might want to make note of that, please.
Thank you.
All right, there are any reports from boards, officers,
Yes, I want to.
committees?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lynch.
Yes, the Property Standards Committee met on the 21st, and I know it's a lot been going on, and we're going to have another with this, and now the mayor is going to be on the community education plans over the next several weeks. But we're going to have another meeting the last Tuesday in September. So I'm going to trust that Mr. Crawford will kind of update you on some of the concerns that came out of that meeting without, taking up time to go into all of that right now. But one in particular is the 105-page report on dealing with right-of-ways, that citizens have called in. There's some that are months behind on that report. But the most significant thing that we did, and we'll be bringing that to the council at our next meeting, is to expand the dollar program. We've been talking about that for a little while now, and to make it available for within a 4th-mile radius. So people that live across the street or a couple of doors down will be eligible. The eligibility pool will be increased and hopefully help us to unload, for lack of a better word, some additional properties. And so we'll be bringing that before the council for adoption. Thank you.
Clerk's report.
Mr. Chairman, the mayor has made certain appointments. I think we went over all of those yesterday. Unless you want me to read them again, I will. And we will have a special meeting right after this meeting. It will be to go into executive session pursuant to LSARS 4216 to discuss matters relating to Louisiana Cleaning Systems, Inc. versus the City of Shreveport.
I don't have that executive session on
This is a
mine.
special meeting notice, Mr. Chairman. There was a special meeting notice that was published.
It was mentioned yesterday.
Saw it online.
Okay. Madam Mayor, do you have additional communication?
Just one, the presentation that you saw today is now online.
Okay.
For those people who would like to view it again and get some more details, it has been put up on our website.
Correct, Mayor. And if you go to the main page under News Flash, it'll say the Pelicans. Click on that. It'll take you to another link, and you have to click on where it says Sports Complex Presentation. Click on that. Takes a little while because it's a large folder, so just be patient, but it will all load up.
Now, is that from the meeting today or?
From the meeting today.
From the meeting today.
Okay, so Sammy can watch you 5 times.
Yes.
And the other last announcement I have to make is I want to congratulate our CEO on his state appointment to the State Police Commission, and that appointment comes from Governor Edwards also. We got 2 more that the governor has seen fit to appoint from Shreveport. So
that's great.
We're excited about the opportunities that come with those appointments.
Great.
Congratulations, Mr. Crawford.
Thank you, Mayor.
They call for him the fireman, but don't have to change that song to the lawman. At this time, any councilman?
I have one.
I have Councilman Corbin on the board, so we'll recognize him.
Two things. Mr. Crawford, is the mid-year infrastructure report posted to the website, to the city
I
website?
believe when you sent me the email, I told them to have it posted that morning. Patrick, is the mid-year infrastructure report? Just make sure it's on the, make sure the copy is on the website to access, and I'll let you know.
Thank you. And then the second thing I had, in Councilwoman Lynch, this kind of comes under the Property Standards Committee, I think. I'd like to explore any ordinance changes or anything that we can do to address situations where we have properties going through foreclosure and somebody decides to move in that property. Mr. Crawford knows we had a 4-year ordeal at a house on 70th Street. I've got a couple others right now that I'm working with in my district, and these are driving neighborhoods crazy. And I think that we all probably have some of those situations, but there seems to be little that we can do at this point to remove people who don't own the house, may not be having all the utilities owned, and it's just a problem for the neighborhood. So maybe that's something that property standards could begin to talk about, and then we explore it if we actually do have any legal options.
Councilwoman Lee?
Yes, I just wanted to remind everyone of the Ingleside Warner Park Community Meeting on Thursday, August 24th at 6 o'clock at the Union Masonic Hall.
Okay, I'd like to tell everybody about a program at First Presbyterian Church on September 13th from 4 to 8 p.m. It is a civility training workshop. So we exercised a lot of civility here today with some differing opinions. I think it's a good opportunity for people in our community that want to engage in that type of discussion. It is, once again, First Presbyterian. The phone number for that is 222-0604. For those that are interested in registering, they've got 2 professionals from Houston coming up giving this 4-hour seminar. That is September 13th, 4 to 8 p.m. For registration, the phone number is 222-0604, and it's at First Presbyterian Civility Training Workshop. Thank you.
I beat me to it.
Go ahead.
Listen, I need to make the councilman and lady aware that the North Shreveport Business Association will be having their annual barbecue, and they've asked us to have a team in it.
Done it 2 years.
There's no
councilman that's ever done it.
You've done it. But anyway, there's no financial obligation from us. We have a sponsor. But if we have somebody who's going to cook, and I'm going to get you this information. But I need some councilors and council lady to come that morning, that afternoon, and serve and represent the City Council of Shreveport as servers. But I'll get more information to you regarding that.
What's the name?
So I told her that I had my flyer, but I left it in the car.
Let me say one thing. I've done it twice before. It's a good time, worthwhile. You get to speak to a lot of folks, and certainly the food's pretty darn tasty, and it's for a good cause.
Okay, but you have to step on that cooking. We have somebody to do that. All we need to do is get there and serve, okay? And that'll be forthcoming, and I hope you would consider just, if you can't do it the whole time, then just, we'll create a rotation schedule, okay? Thank you.
And I don't know if this comes up under property standards or what. I think one time we discussed about like rental of houses, slumlords or something like that. Is that something that we can bring back up and say? I don't know if that's something that we can.
In terms of like enforcing minimum living standards or something?
Yes, and if maybe property standards, someone can inspect the house first before it goes out. I don't know how. If that's something that we can.
I would certainly recommend reviewing the legislation that's out there? Because we spend a lot of time on that.
And we got out of it.
Well, it's there's some. I think what Councilman Jenkins is saying, and stop me if I'm not, is that it'd be helpful to kind of talk about what's in there and see if there's improvements that can be made, or if it's a matter of enforcement that needs to be like education or enforcement or something that would help to.
I might even say that there may be some education required for people to recognize how procedurally to move forward. That's truthfully the biggest problem, is that people know it's a problem, but they don't do the procedures to notify the city so that they can enforce it correctly by the statute.
It seems like not long ago we asked the question, had anybody even started the procedure since we passed that legislation, and I think the answer was no.
We definitely had a few in the beginning, but we may
I
not.
know there were some in my district that it was helpful for, but I mean.
Y'all sure find a lot of stuff for me to do. I'm gonna have to.
Don't worry,
I'm gonna have to disappear.
I'm on infrastructure, and we just got to hear a report out. We'll be
I've
busy
come to
too.
one too many meetings.
We want you to stay.
Public comment now.
Mr. John Settle.
I'll move back to Baton
They say your lease was still
I'm John Settle. My home address is 4 Tealwood. I was trying to decide if I could apply for a permit to sell popcorn and peanuts on the 12th for the sports arena, or I Love Don Seafood T-shirts, but then I realized I'd have to get a permit from the MPC, so no chance. I appreciate the question by Councilman Jenkins about Lyft and Uber. Wearing my forum hat, I have a column that I've sent in to forum that will appear next Tuesday, the 29th, and the headline is, "So, why is Uber and Lyft not here?" It's almost complete because I'm hoping that Mr. Bradford or someone will give me a quote from the administration. My research over the last month is this. Our ordinance is very onerous compared to New Orleans and Baton Rouge. All three of those cities say that you have to comply with the state statute. There is a state statute that regulates TNCs, Transportation Network Companies, and sets forth insurance requirements. One of those is that the company has to have $1 million worth of coverage, etc. Our ordinance incorporates the state statute, but also has an indemnity clause that the company must sign to indemnify the city, all its employees, etc. I've been very unsuccessful in getting anyone from Uber or Lyft to contact me about this. I've gone through websites, phone calls, etc. But if you look at the two ordinances, that the New Orleans and Baton Rouge and ours, that is the primary difference. Baton Rouge has had Uber and Lyft since 2014, New Orleans since 2015, and in 2016, New Orleans amended theirs to allow people to both go and come from Louis Armstrong Airport in Kenner. Bossier is piggybacking on us. Whatever we do is fine with Bossier. But I would suggest, that's what the ordinance says, and Jimmy Hall, I would suggest that there be discussion as to whether or not we need an indemnification clause, or if we think there is a need, and I realize we self-insure, that maybe we increase the insurance requirements to $2 million or something like that. But I believe this may be a reason why Lyft and Uber are not here. My column was virtually written, and I've asked for Mr. Bradford or someone from the Tyler administration to give me a quote on the need for the indemnification clause. Hopefully I'll get that by 5 tomorrow with my deadline. Either way, you can read about it next week, but I hope y'all will discuss that, because I think it's something, there's got to be a reason they're not here. When they go to Texarkana, Texas, that's the real slap in the face. And I know that, Ms. Lynch, you've always been, you've asked about it every time, so we agree on something. Thank you, gentlemen and ladies.
You got to get a permit for that.
Mr. Jeffrey Jackson. Linda Shepherd.
The last, but you're not the least on
Hi,
What's your name and address, please?
my name is Linda K. Chaffel. I live at 1515 Buena Vista in Allendale. I'm a resident of Allendale, and several community gardens are up in many neighboring places. Gardeners are working closer with family, friends, and neighbors. And so about 12 years ago, we, as a way of improving community and civic involvement, we started the Allendale Garden of Hope and Love, which is located at 1460 Buena Vista Street, corner of Allen, as opposed to a supermarket. This garden requires time, garden skills, tools, resources, and which have been well utilized. Several churches were involved, and they are greatly appreciated, two of which include Broadmoor United Methodist Church and Summer Grove Baptist Church. They have been faithful and diligent to the response for our cause. So I'm asking the council to help the Allendale community for continued success. Thank you.
Thank you. And
Thank you.
Thank you for the work that you've done there. I remember the first time I visited the Allendale Garden of Hope and Love was probably when I was working for Senator Landry, maybe, but it could have been even prior to that. I remember certainly visiting that site when Community Renewal was doing a project there in the late 90s. So it's been a long time that y'all been working over there, and it certainly shows the dedication of the community to it. It looks beautiful now.
Thank you.
That ends the public comments. We'll, no other business will adjourn, and now we're going, hereby given that the city council will hold a special meeting, and immediately following this meeting, which ever occurs for this meeting, will be held at Government Plaza, Chambers of Commerce.
Minute bathroom break.
Yeah. Purpose of the meeting, you call the meeting, executive session meeting or.
Okay. What do we do? Calling it to order and then move that we adjourn to executive session. We have to make a motion and everybody has to vote. I make the motion that we move to executive session.